Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, you know? Just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me. Absolutely happened to me. I had, for years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hi, I'm Ashley Flowers, and if you're like me and grew up watching America's Most Wanted and reading Nancy Drew, then hi, you're a crime junkie. And I bet that passion for solving mysteries never went away, which is why we've assembled a team of reporters to dig deep into all the cases we still obsess over. Each Monday, my best friend Britt and I will bring you a case that you won't be able to stop thinking and talking about. So join us by listening to Crime Junkie wherever you listen to podcasts.
This week, in Chadwicks, New York, a strange church opens in a quiet neighborhood, leading to gossip and curiosity, but the neighbors could never have guessed what was really happening there. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Ha! Yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmy Westman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us on this special, crazy holiday edition of Small Town Murder. It's not like on purpose, but why not? We'll call it the holiday edition because of when it's coming out here, and right in the midst, in the taint of the holiday season here.
Right.
It's lovely. Everything's going on. We have a crazy show for you. This is one of those. It's going to be a milepost show where people go, remember that one? Yeah, it's insane. Wild stuff. Before we get to that, very quickly here, I want to thank everybody for all that you do for us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your reviews, number one, everything you've done all year. If you haven't yet, please, whatever app you're listening on, throw 5 stars on there. Say something nice. It's not for our egos. It really does help the show here. You want to do that? You want to head over to shutupandgivememurder.com.
Yeah.
Get your tickets for the 2023 live tour. At least the first half of them are on sale now. The rest will go on sale in early 2023, especially Cleveland, February 10th, St. Louis, February 11th. Those are the first two shows kicking it off, and they are selling fast. They're going to be sold out quick, so get those shows now if you want them. I would definitely do that. Get in there. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all the bonus material. My
Tell me
God.
more.
Anybody could do this. Anybody you got to have is $5 or more, whatever you want per month. You're going to get access to the whole back catalog of bonus material. There's like 150 episodes to binge.
Sure.
You're going to get 2 new episodes every single week, one crime and sports and one small town murder. Also, crime and sports is continuing.
Hey!
It's going to be fun stuff. We're paring it down a little bit and making it, it's going to be awesome. So check that out if you haven't checked out crime and sports in a while. Do that. Patreon this week, though, because it's Christmas.
Yeah, it is.
We're going to do one episode for it. It's the only time of year where we do that. But we're going to
do this.
We're going to talk about our worst comedy gigs of all time that we have participated in, and a lot of them were together, so that'll be a good time. And some of them were separate, and we're also
let's reminisce.
Oh, it's going to be fun, and we're going to tack on to that our favorite and least favorite Christmas songs of all time as well. We'll talk about that. And then for crime and sports, it's just going to be a little short one, so it's not just one, but it's just a little stocking stuffer, we'll call it. A little surprise for everybody there. So get in on that. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And Jimmy will mess your name up really bad at the end of the show while trying to thank you. So that's going to happen there. That said, time for the disclaimer.
Yeah.
Let's do it. This is a comedy show. We're comedians. The facts are all too real. They're seriously real and definitely true. And we're going to make jokes. That's what happens here. Make jokes about a lot of things. What we don't make jokes about, though, we go out of our way not to make jokes about, is we never make jokes about the victims or the victims' families.
Why, James?
Because we're assholes.
Yeah,
but we're not scumbags. See?
There you have it.
That's how that works. So if that sounds good to you, holy hell, do we have a wild episode for you. Yeah. Seriously, buckle up. If you think true crime and comedy should never, ever, ever go together, I don't know. Maybe it's not for you, but maybe it is. But no complaining later either way. We don't want to hear it. So you've been warned that a joke will be here and there. So that said, I think it's time to sit back, no matter where you are. I don't care if you're at a gathering of your family. Stand up on the table, kick the turkey aside, and shout, shut up and give me murder. And then spike the potatoes down. Go, yeah, bitches. That's right. All right, Jimmy, you ready?
Dance in the gravy.
Let's go on a trip, shall we?
L-O-Z.
Let's do it. We are going all the way to Chadwicks, New York.
Oh, with an X or CKS?
CKS, yeah, CKS. This is up in central New York, up by Utica there. This is in the vastness of New York, yeah. Because people who aren't from New York, people in New York, it's very specifically broken down. Yeah. There's the city, which is literally Manhattan. Right. You know what I mean? Then there's the boroughs, because when people say the city, they think of the whole New York City, but people in Brooklyn say, I'm going to the city. They're going to Manhattan, even though they're in the city, too. So
at the Improv last week, the bartender said she was from New York, and I was like, oh, where at? I was like, in the city? She goes, no, Brooklyn. I was like, yes, babe, that's 15 minutes away.
Yeah,
it's the city.
It's just a bridge, but yeah. But that's how we put it, and then we break it down to, there's Westchester, and then there's upstate, but upstate means different things to different people. Like, I live in Poughkeepsie, which if you're in the city, they say that's upstate, right? Not New York State. That's the middle of nowhere.
But
Upstate.
If you're in Utica and say you live in upstate.
If I go to Utica and say, yeah, I'm from upstate, I'm Poughkeepsie, they go, that's not upstate, that's the city. Because it's an hour away from the city. They're like, that's the city. What are you talking about? That's all the city to them. So it's broken up into really, this is the area of this is New York State. It's farmlands. It's a lot of that.
And they treat the word upstate like a point of pride.
Oh, yeah. If you say, I'm from upstate New York, they'll say, like, don't lump me in with the city. They're different. It's a different thing going on up there. Now, Chadwicks is a census-designated little area that is technically a part of the town of New Hartford, but it's also its own thing, and it has its own personality, as we'll talk about here. We
needed a new Hartford, because Hartford right there was...
Old Hartford wasn't working. It wasn't working. Well, we'll find out why. This is in central New York, like we said. It's about 4 hours and 15 minutes to the city, so to New York City. About an hour 35 over to Albany, if you want to go there, and about 2.5 hours to, a little more than that, to New Paltz, New York, which is our last episode, which is the guy who killed the diner waitress that he was obsessed with the Express episode. This is in Oneida County, area code 315. History of this place pretty quickly here. New Hartford was settled in 1788 when Jedediah Sanger came through.
Oh, boy.
Old Jedediah.
Quaker?
Anytime a name it starts with Jedediah came on the scene, you know it's happened a long time ago. He was bankrupted in 1784 when a fire wiped out his farm that was in New Hampshire. So he moved to this area to start over again, relocated his family, and
had to get away from all the fires.
Everything's on fire back there, and he erected a sawmill. That was his big deal there. He had put a grist mill in and everything like that. A lot of manufacturing was the commerce that went on here. They made carpets here for a long time. Oh yeah, the first in-grain loom in the state was put here. In-grain carpeting.
Stitching it, huh?
Stitching it. An Englishman put that up named Butterfield there. So they did that. They made nails. The first cut nails made in the state were produced in this town here. He purchased wine and liquor casks and made cut nails from the iron hoops of the casks.
Oh.
That's how he did that.
Is that right?
That's how he had to do it. They had tanneries, paper, textile. There was a lot of manufacturing here. And then they had a road come through that connected the state, so you could drive from like the city to Buffalo. And they thought they were real hot shit until the Erie Canal came in. And
all the boats just went through that.
That's a lot faster than going on the road. And the boats, that went through Utica, not here. So then Utica became the, quote, big town, the big, little city. And then this place has very few people in it.
Radiator Springs.
Yep, very few people in it. And that's what happened here. So reviews of this town, this is for Chadwicks, New Hartford, kind of both. Here we go. 5 stars.
Oh, boy.
It's just lovely. There is no better town in New York to witness the 4 seasons of the year. Well, I mean, really, any town you could watch them. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're happening, trust me.
That area of the country, straight past Ohio,
you can count on it. You can count on it. This town is full with amazing and friendly people who make you feel so welcome. The best place to start a family and grow old.
Oh.
Wow, they're really laying down the tracks for down the line here.
Live your whole life, stick around.
4 stars. The community is mostly aged individuals like wine moms and conservative uncles. So 4 stars, drunken old ladies and fucking, an uncle that'll call your girlfriend the N-word. That's what at Thanksgiving. That's what this town has, and it's 4 stars.
Yeah.
He says, can't really complain, though. Food is amazing, and the town is just the right size. That's I don't care what's going on outside my door kind of a guy there. 3 stars. Chadwicks is a relatively quiet town. Most families find it a good place to raise their children because it has a neighborhood watch feel. However, there's very little to do without traveling to nearby Utica or New Hartford. People get down in Utica, as we know. I mean, Utica's a famous party town. We're all...
It does have a college, right, Utica?
I'm sure there's a million. Yeah, it's probably a SUNY. Every little town in upstate New York has a SUNY school. Yeah. Every Geneseo has every little shit town you can think of has a SUNY school.
What's that one? Teaches you racketeering?
I believe that teaches you how to make bad beer from Pennsylvania. Isn't that Genesee ale? Isn't that nasty shit? So 1 star is the last one here. 1 star. Utica is a place that has many gangs, so violence and shootings happen almost every day.
Daily.
They really don't, really, in Utica. In New Hartford, I usually feel pretty safe day to day, but when I'm in Utica, I don't feel safe! ! Well, then fucking go review Utica and say how bad it is. You barely mentioned this town. That's what this is about. Here it's okay, but Utica, oh my God, it's fucking Thunderdome in Utica. Holy hell.
Utakakistan.
Oh, man. Uzbekistan it is. It's a very scary place. Holy shit. Don't take this person to an actual bad neighborhood. Yeah. Christ, let's have a heart attack. Population here in this little area, 1,179. So it's a small area. 58.8% female. Think about that. It's almost 59% female. It's usually 50-50, 50.2% female is usually what it is.
41% men? That's crazy.
And that's because of the age. The age here is strange. Median age here, 44.9, which is close to the normal age of about 38. But the breakdown is so strange that I have to talk about it for a second. It has twice the amount of 65 to 74-year-olds as normal. And more than twice the amount of 75 to 84-year-olds is normal. So when you have all those old people, they're going to be more female because men die sooner. So that's how that works, I believe. But there's also a lot of like 21 to 24-year-olds. I assume that's a college that's nearby. And not a lot of kids, though. All the kids are below average. There's college kids and elderly people.
That's it.
Wine ants and fucking
uncles
and their college kids.
Wine ants and the kids that steal her wine.
Yeah, and the uncle that shouts racial slurs off the porch at the college kids who go by. Family here, it's about 50-50 on the marriage, just about normal. 20.5% are single with children, so not too crazy. Race of this town, though, in Chadwicks, 97.1% white. Pretty white up there. 0.0% black, 0.0% Asian. We have 2.9% Hispanic. That's it. Otherwise, it is just white people. Religion here, it's about average. It's 51%. Normally, it's 50-50. And the dominant religion, of course, would be the Catholic. Catholics are, as we know, the Baptists of the North. And they're everywhere. There they are up here. So in this county, 41.2% of the people voted Democratic in the last election. 56.7% voted Republican, 2.1% independent. And the median household income here, $41,406, which is below the national average. But the cost of living here, 100 being average, the housing is 52 out of 100.
So cheap.
It's cheap. The median home cost, $152,600. So,
It's
cheaper than your average.
My aunt lives kind of nearby, I guess, and she has a 20-something acre property that is worth $200,000.
Yeah, there isn't a lot up there really, unless you want to drive to Utica every morning, and then Utica really is not like that's not an open place with all this opportunity. It's not like I can work on the stock market in Lower Manhattan, or I can do that in Utica as well. Like, it doesn't really work like that. So if we've convinced you, damn it, to take it easy a little bit, maybe you're getting up there in age and you want to find a nice place to relax.
Make your dollars stretch and work for you.
Maybe you want to do that. We can do it for you. We can help with the Chadwicks, New York Real Estate Report. The average two-bedroom rental here goes for $776, so that's way cheaper than the national average. Here's a three-bedroom, two-bath, 1,344 square foot house. So kind of your, family home. Your kind of typical, your typical, block, just a block of these in a street. It's a kind of a weird little house. It's not very good. It looks a little bit dirty. There's dishes on a bed in one of the pictures. Which I don't know. I don't know
when you're breakfast in bed around here.
When you're taking just like piles of dishes. Like,
all right. Well,
like this is where we keep the dishes on this bed, which is a strange thing for a real estate photo. You'd think they'd move the dishes somewhere else, then put them back.
I understand a pile of laundry.
It's an odd. Is there laundry on the kitchen counter? They just confused.
The laundry in the dishwasher.
Yeah, just very confused. Either way, $69,000 for this house, though.
Okay.
So. It's pretty cheap, actually. Here's a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 2,640 square foot house. It's ugly. It's very ugly. This place is decorated horribly. The kitchen looks like it's from maybe 1999. and it's not good. You're definitely going to want to redo that. They have awful shit all over this house. There's cheetah things and like Egyptian stuff everywhere. Like there's no even like theme to it. It's very weird.
Eclectic, yeah.
There's some land to this. $499,900 for this house.
Okay.
That's not bad. Here's a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,400 square foot house. It's just a big, plain, boring house on a bunch of land. Very, very boring. If you're looking to move here and be bland, this is the house for you. $1.2 million, though, for that.
How many acres?
I don't know how many acres, but it's on a shitload of acres.
Much,
yeah, it's got to be 100 acres or something, because otherwise, I don't know what you're paying for here.
For $1 million.
In this place?
You better.
Well, in this place? Yeah, you got to. This is crazy. So
you got to have half the town.
You need to. Yeah, you deserve half the town for that. So, things to do in this town. The St. George's Mediterranean Festival. Which I don't think I would expect in the middle of upstate New York, but here it is.
A lot of Greek food.
I have the schedule for it. It doesn't. Okay. It doesn't look like too much fun. Let's see here. It starts out with the opening prayer. Got to have that, of course. Then there's a church tour after the prayer. What do you think the prayer would be during the church tour? 2 birds, right?
2 birds, yeah. Knock it out. Let's go.
Then there's
Anything should be efficient.
Yeah, let's get your shit together. The St. George dancers are there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what they're doing. Then there's the Arabic drum lessons.
Okay.
Which I know you've been dying to do more Arabic drumming. Jimmy said, when I have time, I'm finally going to be like the best Arabic drummer in the southwestern United States. It's going to happen.
What's the difference between normal drumming and Arabic?
I believe
what do they do different?
You make a woman wear a fucking thing on her head while you do it.
Make
I think is the difference.
Really clothed.
You say, put that cloth on, and then you learn how to drum. That's all I can imagine.
And then I play 18 in life.
Yeah, that's it. Then you play cherry pie. She's my cherry pie. Wrap your head up, or else you're gonna die. I don't know. Maybe that's
Jesus
it.
Christ.
I don't know if it's Saudi Arabian drum lessons or what, but who knows here. Then there's the Vespers. It's all capital letters. Vespers, ancient Christian prayer service. That's happening. Ancient Christian prayer. I don't know what that entitled. Are they sacrificing a virgin? I don't know how ancient we're going here.
Are we going crusades?
Yeah.
For Christ's sake.
Is there a volcano involved? Should I be worried? But then there's more Arabic drum lessons after that, because you're going to want to drum after the service. Then at 6:30, learn to dabke.
Dabke.
Dabke. I don't know what that is, but you can learn to do it at 6:30.
Well, maybe you should go. It's not far down the road from here.
It's a few hours. Let's hop in the car, Jimmy. We're going here. Then there's another.
Learn to dabke.
Then there's another church tour after that to close out the night, because you got to have that. So, in addition to that, the Tug Hill Yeti Quest. Tug Hill Yeti Quest. It's a Tug Hill Outfitters, is apparently a clothing place. They host a winter Yeti-themed adventure race. Okay. Holy shit. Saturday, January 28th, 2023.
So wow. The country for this.
This is fucking crazy. Teams navigate the course using only a map and compass, no GPS allowed, and compete to see who can find the most checkpoints in the least amount of time. It's a scavenger hunt, basically.
A Yeti's different from a Sasquatch, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
A Yeti's a frozen Sasquatch. Well,
a Yeti is Asian. Yeti is a Himalayan thing, and the Sasquatch is, from Oregon.
The supersonics.
Yeah. He's a Yeti that smokes weed. That's all he is. He's a Yeti that smokes weed and has a favorite lesbian coffee shop. That's it's not that different, though, really. So they have, here's my favorite thing ever, the Renewal of the Vows Festival. Okay. Renewal of the vows. Grab the one you love and join in this special ceremony to celebrate the matrimony that you hold so close to your heart.
Okay.
Your romantic day will start with a procession through the wooded grounds led by festival musicians. Oh, wow.
Oh, God, Jesus.
Fellow patrons watch as they see the love shine from each of the passing happily married couples.
What?
These are people that are already married. There's no shining, probably. They're remarrying themselves because they're like, look, it was either this or try to have another kid, and I am fucking exhausted. So we're going to try this for now. And then we're going to get into like some weird sex shit.
Shut up at least for one day.
One day. Once you reach the festival chapel, you will take pleasure in a beautiful ceremony performed by a justice of the peace with the queen presiding. Oh, well, that's terrific.
What queen?
I don't know what. The queen of the Sterling Renaissance Festival, because that's where it's inside of that. This is like a pop-up inside of that.
Yeah, after some lady has a day job.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, she's not the queen all year. She doesn't sit on the throne waiting for the next festival next year. It's her only job.
This is so stupid.
After you have shared your loving kiss once more, you will enjoy a delicious piece of cake to share. One piece of cake for both of you, by the way.
We got a ration.
And a champagne toast. You only get one glass, so you have to go ting and just put it up in the air. Say ting. To help renew to celebrate the renewal of your union. 2 festival mugs are provided to give you your toast the exceptional touch you will cherish, because you want to toast your wedding with a mug and carry home with you for years to come. Oh, man, you'll also
remember the day that you renewed your vows in front of a stranger pretending to be a queen.
They have a renewal of vows package. That's what it's called that you buy. That is fucking amazing.
Holy shit, I hate it.
I hate it a lot. The slice of cake is a mile-high cake. That's why. So how much cake do you need? Really, cut it. It's like a 7-layer. Cut it in half, 3.5 layers each. I don't know. So... crime rate in this town. What we're interested in here,
God,
obviously, the crime rate. And I know we ran through the town stuff a little quicker this week than normal. That's because this fucking case is insane, and it needs all the time and attention we can possibly give it. Crime rate here. Property crime is about 1/3 of the national average. So
safe.
Two-thirds low. And violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, is about half of the national average. So it's obviously in Utica, as we know. It's just there. It's forget about it, man. It's like Escape from New York. Like it's just bedlam. You got to see it. It's like 80s fucking South Bronx up there, but.
A lot of Snake Plisskens walking the street.
It's wild. That said, let's talk about a murder. What do you say, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Let's get into this. Oh, my God. Okay, right off the bat, we have to talk about the Word of Life Christian Church is their full name. WLCC is what they go by. Okay. Word of Life Christian Church. Now, number one, this particular Christian church or Word of Life chapter here in Chadwicks, New York, if you look up Word of Life Church, there's 1 million of them.
Yeah.
None of them have anything to do with this one. So
are they affiliated at all?
Not at all. Not at all. I don't think you can copyright church names. I think it's not like a trademark. Anybody can be called anything. Yeah, because how many St. Patrick's are there? Probably 1 trillion throughout.
How many First Church of Christ are
That's
there?
what I'm saying.
Thousands.
So Word of Life is a lot. There's one in Philadelphia that's like it's mainly like elderly Russian immigrants that started it. It's like a prayer group. It's not. This is a totally separate, totally independent thing. So don't put this on any other Word of Life churches, please, because they have nothing to do with these people whatsoever.
Okay.
So now in this Chadwicks, there's it used to be the junior high. It's a big 3-story building in a residential area. And they moved into this church. And, by the 2010s, because our story is going to take place over some time, but it's going to culminate in 2015. So, yeah, it's a lot. So, over this time here, there's a bunch of homes here, and the main road. It's the main road on Oneida. I don't know
how do you spell it.
Oneida, whatever street on the main road through Chadwicks. Oneida.
Oh, just like the fucking
silverware.
Is it silverware? Yeah, silverware.
Yeah, silverware. Yeah. This goes here, and this road leads to Utica, by the way. Okay. But it became the Word of Life building in the 1990s. This is an old building built in 1916. It's a big 2-acre building backed up to a creek. So used to be the junior high. Now it's not anymore. It's basically a big I. If you looked at it from above, it's shaped like a big capital. Yeah. It's shaped like a big capital I here.
Or an H if you turn it sideways.
Yeah. It's just they're short on the end. So it's more like a capital I rather than H would be longer. So there's a big gymnasium in it and all that kind of shit. Like it's a junior high. It used to be. So they settled into it here, the congregation. And at first, when they first moved into the building, there was other things occupied. The building was multi-use. It wasn't just one thing. So there was a karate studio in the front and a gymnastics studio in the back. Okay. So there's a church mixed with that shit going on there. And then the church eventually started just taking over everything and, doing all of that shit. So when they first moved in, they were very welcoming. They'd go knock on doors and, invite people
over. Yeah.
Yeah, they'd invite people, but more like less like missionary and more like neighborhoody. Like, hey, we're in this church. If everybody's welcome. Just so you know, we have baked goods and shit. You can come by and get a cupcake and say hi. And more like it's like a social thing kind of a deal.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Stop by. We're not weird. That sort of shit.
Come on over.
Yeah, and people would come. A lot of people would show up because it just seemed like a nice place. The people were nice. They'd show up. The church people would just like give out baked goods in the neighborhood and stuff. Okay. Like, hey, Martha made a shitload of cookies. Who wants some apple cinnamon cookies? And the neighbors would go, hey, sure, I'll have one. How you doing? Yeah, they just seem like neighborly people. Jerry Irwin is the pastor here, and we'll talk about him for a while there. But we got a lot to say about Jerry Irwin, boy. Oh, man. Holy shit. This guy is if you haven't listened to Rulo, Nebraska episode, but if you mixed that guy from there, mix him with Jim Jones and you get Jerry Irwin.
Oh.
It's disturbing. Yeah, it's very disturbing. So the neighbors are like, they're watching this happen, and then they put, Word of Life building on the old school, and they're like, okay, well, at least somebody's in it. At first they were like, this is cool because at least, it's a church. It's not like some businesses, so it won't be like nefarious things going on there. It'll be quiet at night. They were happy, the neighbors were happy with it. But eventually, though, it started to become the neighbors weren't really welcome anymore. And they started shutting everybody out. And then they put up like big gates and they had like guards and shit. It was like Scientology, it looked like from the outside. Like, it was really strange.
You missed your chance for punch and pie. Now you can't have it. Yeah,
no punch and pie now. That was yesterday. Today it's we lock you in and we're going to talk about some shit. So there's a lot of rumors going around and, chit chat and people. Well, I heard from this one, and this one was in that church once, and he said this and she said that. So it's pretty interesting. One of the neighbors here had like, it was her entertainment source. She said it was like she'd do that instead of watching TV. She'd just look out the window at what was going on at the church. There's always weird shit happening. She'd look out the window. She'd tell like everybody, come here, quick, look, check it out.
Look what they're doing now.
Look at this. This is crazy. Check it out. And they'd watch, and they'd say a parade of cars would pull up to the church driveway. Someone would get out, unlock the gate, go inside, everybody. Then they'd come close the gate, and that was it. It was just like all these people would show up at the same time and parade in.
And then shut everybody out.
Yeah, it was very strange. There's another woman who rents a house on next door to the church. And she said she was, there's a book, I'll tell you the name of it and everything at the end, a lot of this came from, that has a lot of great detail. She says in the book, I love how they describe her, quote, admittedly nosy, she was always watching from her window. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro-laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
That's something I would do. Like, I like to mind my own business. I'm not going to get involved, but I want to see what you're doing also. I want to see what's happening over there. What are you up to? At the same time, you know? I'm nosy.
He has 11 bags of dog food. He's going back for another. They're all in his trunk. There's so many.
Weird. Look at him.
He only has one dog.
Look at him back there. What are they doing? I love that shit.
What's he doing with all that dog food?
Yeah, anything. Just what are they doing back there? What's that? Oh, they let their kids do. Oh no, look at that. I don't know. They're just letting the kid. Look at that. He's just drawing on the house with chalk. That's not going to come off right. It's going to look like shit after a while. You just judge.
Stain, right?
You judge people for anything if you look out the window. It's fun. It's just fun. So she said she would climb on her picnic table to look over the wooden picket fence to see what was going on over there.
Right?
I wouldn't do that. If I don't have a good angle from an upstairs window, it wasn't meant to be. You know what I'm saying?
If I'm not comfortable in my voyeurism, I'm not going to fucking make it weird.
Yeah, if I have to climb on a thing and look over, like, what am I, 12? I'm not going to do that. Like, it's not like I'm 12 and there's a lady with her boobs out over there or something. I'm going, she's topless sunbathing like it's some teen movie.
I'm not erecting scaffolding for this.
No, she should have, actually. She said that fireworks would happen all the time. They had bonfires on the roof of their place.
Oh, that's dangerous as fuck, right?
Doesn't seem safe at all, but she said one produced such an odor from it that neighbors got sick from it.
Oh.
Yeah, one of their big bonfires because it was probably melting shingles. So they said children, you could see them in the parking lot walking in a line. They'd all be in like a line together. Cars pull into the church at the same time each night, which was late, like well after dark. She said there was bizarre chanting, noises. They're speaking in tongues.
Now I'm watching.
She's like, what's going on over there? She said there was just all this type of shit. So it became the local guy. That's all everybody talked about. Did you see what was going on down this? Jesus Christ! Now they're doing this. They're the Klopeks now.
Right, yes. This is one you set up a deer blind to watch.
Yeah. This is the Klopeks from the burbs, and they're going to, bored people are going to have meetings and talk about neighbors. Well, I'll spy on them over here, and you do that. They talked about, they had big guys, they called them big beefy guys, walking the grounds in black trench coats. Even in the middle of the summer, they had black trench coats on, walking around the grounds like security people.
It's getting weird. Yeah.
Very weird. The original had the path leading to the front of the school, now church, is a big concrete path like most schools have, and you walk up to the front doors, but nobody goes in there now. They go in a different way. There's a different way in, and outsiders really aren't allowed there. There's a big metal gate that they have to open to go in. It's very strange. So some of the neighbors, like I said, at first thought it was a good thing that the church moved in because they cut the lawn. They fixed the building up. They trimmed the trees. So it just made the neighborhood look better. So they were like, oh, good. Yeah, that's great. But then it started to get super weird.
Weird. Yeah.
Yeah, they said that a middle-aged guy used to mow the lawn, and this one neighbor's husband used to go over and, chit-chat. And they said, he's a real nice guy. And they said, but nobody else we saw there ever spoke to the husband. So they realized that, quote, we realized after that they weren't a friendly bunch, is what that neighbor said. So
sure.
Yeah, so the lady who lives next door and peeks over the fence, that's fucking amazing. She's there with her 4-year-old, and she said, she remembered when they used to give away cakes and bread and donuts and shit and, things like that. But now that didn't last after a while. She said that she would notice teenage girls in the church parking lot, but never saw them leave. She goes, they were always in there, but they were never gone. I never saw teenage girls leaving. It was just teenage girls being in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they airdropped them in there and now they're going to stay forever. But
drone.
She said she heard her 4-year-old talking in his bedroom, and she thought it was like an imaginary friend or something. She was like, "Oh boy, what's this kid doing?" But he was talking out the window to the teenage girls.
Oh,
he's 4.
What a boy!
And he's chatting them up over here. Looking good, love. He turned British.
Yeah.
So, but it was
teeth, but I still like to breastfeed.
Yeah, you're looking milky, huh? All right. So
he thought engorged, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it? Looking engorged. He said, she said, though, it was kind of weird that why are these teenage girls, they have nothing better to do but hang out and talk to a 4-year-old through a window is a little weird, Yeah. But, nice. That's still fine. At some point, though, like we said, total shut off of outside world.
Yeah.
And also lots and lots of dogs barking all the time. All hours of the day and night, they had dogs barking. So this woman, the fence peeker, she called animal control at one point, and I guess they discovered that the church was running like a puppy mill operation. They were pumping out puppies and selling them and shit like that.
That's how they're financing their lives.
Yeah, they said that, she said, quote, they would drive their van outside the gate and park it there, and then people would come, and I realized they're selling dogs. Mm-hmm. So after that, the church somehow found out it was her that apparently she thinks that told on them, because she said someone from the church erected a giant Jesus Saves sign. They said it was a giant handmade billboard made of wood painted black with letters in bright white, and it just faced her apartment. She's the only person who can see it. It's just in her backyard. You, over fence peeper, we see you looking over the fence. Look at this.
Pray about it.
So they did that. They said that the car parade that would go in and out, or just in mainly, started happening much later at night. They said it appeared that cars were entering the building itself at one point, like they had like a bat cave in there, some sort of underground garage they built. Vehicles would drive around back and just vanish, and then people would hurry up and lock the gate. Very, very strange, too. And then when they would leave, it would be all single file at the same time.
Wow.
Real strange stuff. So let's talk about a couple of folks here. A couple of regular folks. Bruce and Deborah Leonard we'll talk about. They're going to eventually be a couple, but let's find out how they found their way to each other here. Yeah. Deborah Debbie, she's born in 1956. She's one of 4 children. She's got a brother named Rick, who Rick will factor into the story later on as well. So she's got, a younger sister that's 12 years younger than her. So pretty decent family range. They ended up in Utica, near New Hartford in 1969. Her dad was an accountant for a company that made thermal underwear.
Awesome.
So he counted all the underwear, see how many we have and how many we're selling.
All those waffles. Those things are great.
Yeah. She's not super religious. The family goes to a church on Easter. So, I mean, they're once a year Catholics. That's how it is there. So she, her mother got sick and ended up bedridden. So Debbie ended up being basically the de facto mom to her youngest sister, the one who was 12 years younger than her. So she had a big deal there of raising this kid, which was hard for her. And, she said she was, it turns out she ended up, because she didn't get to go out a lot or kind of socialize a lot, she was very insecure. She also let people walk all over her a lot, is a big deal for Debbie. She got into a bad relationship. She got married to this guy. They had 2 kids. Their 3rd child died of SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. So after a few years, Debbie left her husband, took her kids and went and lived with her parents again, who lived in Clayville, New York, which is just down the road, not too far. So her brother Rick lived next door, and her brother Rick had been heavily involved with a local church run by Jerry Irwin, which is the Word of Life Church here. Rick persuaded Debbie, hey, try it out. Just come by the church. I'm telling you, it's a good time.
Yeah.
This guy's got a lot of charisma. I think you're really going to like him. He's kind of magical, too. Wait till you see. Did you know he was magic, Jimmy?
Mr. Irwin?
He's magic. Do you didn't know that? Oh, magic. Wait till you hear. Wait till you hear what he can tell and do and see.
I can't wait.
He's part Superman, part psychic, and part, let's be honest here, he's a god, Jimmy. That's all there is to it.
God king.
He's got to be a prophet of some kind, or we're not sure, but pretty impressive man here. So Debbie didn't have a job or really wasn't doing anything. She just had her kids. She's a stay-at-home mom. So she started going to church around 1986, and that's what she's doing there. She has a daughter, by the way, named Sarah that will come into play a lot later on. Okay. So keep her in mind.
Debbie's daughter, Sarah?
Debbie's daughter, Sarah. Uh-huh. She's got a few kids, but Sarah's one of them. Now, Bruce, her soon-to-be husband here, he's a few years older. He's born in 1950. He grew up near Cooperstown, which is where the Hall of Fame is, which looks like it's a bigger place, but when you go to Cooperstown, it is the tiniest town ever. Really? There's a street with a bunch of baseball-themed shit and like pizza places and the Hall of Fame, and then that's it. There's nothing else. And then it's farmland for hours in every direction. So he worked at the Cooperstown Farmers Museum for a while. Yeah. Which I didn't know they had that. So there's a museum of the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Right.
And if you get bored there, you can go to the Farmers Museum, which is probably kind of cool. They probably have like old farming equipment there. It's kind of
if you get bored about baseball, let us show you where you can take a nap.
Yeah. Let us show you a tractor from 1912. Look at that, huh? Pretty neat. So Bruce also was married to begin with. He went to the SUNY Oneonta, I'm sorry, that's where he met his first wife, married her in 1973. He's got a degree in education, and he gets a position as a high school teacher as well, so he's doing that. Bruce is mild-mannered, very calm, and takes a long time to get things out.
Oh.
Like, if you asked him a question, he'd go, well, the thing is, these are his pauses. So it's, he definitely changes the pace of every conversation he's in. Imagine a teacher doing that.
Oh, God.
So while the kids are cutting up and acting out of control, he's, hey, kids, and they're, hanging one out the window by his ankles, and there's fucking books flying across the room, and he can't express himself that well to get it out. He's not a dumb guy at all. He's a very deliberate, slow speaker. So he ended up getting his master's degree in plant and soil science.
Oh, God.
Yeah. They have a daughter named Crystal in 1979 because most of the children born in 1979 were named Crystal, as we've discussed before.
79 and 84. Big name.
Said, Crystal, Jennifer, or Stephanie, which one?
Yeah.
So you're only allowed to name them one of the three. It's 79. That's all we have. Sorry. That's it. Now, Bruce, not particularly religious either. Him and his first wife started attending some church over time, but he's not really that religious or anything like that. 1987 comes around. They have a lot of problems, Bruce and his first wife, and his first wife leaves him after 14 years of marriage.
Oh, no.
Taking little Crystal with her. Okay. So, she's awarded custody of Crystal, and now Bruce didn't know what to do. He was just at loose ends. Well, it's the end of the road.
Yeah, you got to be devastated.
He's devastated. He has nowhere to turn, and then luckily for him, he meets a man named Jerry Irwin.
Yeah.
Jerry Irwin has
Jesus will point the way.
Words, and this is Bruce's later reflection. He said, quote, I was at a very low point and had stopped attending the local Methodist Presbyterian church. It was too depressing to go without my wife and baby girl.
Yeah.
And he said a family friend thought he looked kind of lost and said, why don't you come to church with me? It's a different church, won't bring back the same memories. And I think this Jerry Irwin guy, I think you're going to like him. There's some stuff about him you're going to dig. And Bruce said, quote, it was just a living room with some friends. Jerry said something to me, I forgot the specifics, regarding my situation, which there was no way for him to know, so it got my attention as to, quote, hey, maybe God is showing him things.
Mm-hmm.
Or he's a good huckster who knows how to read people because he's been hustling for a long time. Either or, what's more likely, do you think?
Yeah. Or he's Miss Cleo, and he just takes hints about things and then makes a story up, and it just happens to be fucking spot on.
Con men forever. That's how they do it. They can glean things that you don't realize you're giving up, and then tell you things about yourself you didn't know you just told them already. It's pretty fucking simple. So that's what a good con man does. So Jerry Dean Irwin. Let's talk about Jerry real quick here. Jerry is a mess. He's always been a little kooky. When he was 16, he was convinced that a police informant was setting him up for an arrest, so he smashed out all the windows of this guy's house with a baseball bat and left town.
The guy's not even an informant.
No, not at all. He's a little paranoid, old Jerry Irwin here. So he does all that. He hitchhiked to a small town in Ohio where he met a man who convinced him to come down to Florida and be a deckhand on boats. Wow, what a weird time when you could just be like, this guy said there's boat jobs and you just go to Florida. That's crazy.
Pirate's life for me.
Yeah, he got a job on a 65-foot scallop boat.
Oh, my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's going scalloping. So he worked
diesel, I'm sure.
5 days a week, and he would, on the weekends, he lived the life of a sailor. He drank to excess and did a shitload of drugs and fucking banged any port skanks he could find. That was his life, the life of a sailor.
Where in Florida? Probably Tampa side?
Port Canaveral.
Oh,
is where he was.
That side, right?
I have no idea where that is. No clue whatsoever. But
Cape Canaveral's down there where I imagine port is near.
It's probably near there, right? I don't know. You know what though? Florida's not so organized. Who knows down there? We have no idea. Yeah. So he'd do that. He met a woman while he was doing that at the Pillow Talk Lounge in Cocoa Beach. He meets a woman, and 2 weeks later asks her to marry him, which is what you do when you meet somebody at a Cocoa Beach Pillow Talk Lounge sailor bar.
Cocoa Beach is on the Jacksonville side, I think.
I have no idea. I assume you probably end up all around if you're on a scallop boat. Probably up. You're not going to the same port every time.
Right.
So he ends up, he has some problems here, obviously. At one point, she ends up leaving him, as we'll talk about with kids. At one point in May 1979, he's going to kill himself, though. He's done.
He's had enough of this, huh?
Jerry's told everyone out loud, he said he was walking. He was spiraling out of control, and he said, what is love, and who loves me? And he didn't know. He said, and at that moment, he told people, at that moment, the road he was walking disappeared in front of him. Literal road disappeared, and he was weightless in a sky, like floating in a sky, not the sky. You know, as I said, a sky, because this wasn't the normal sky. This wasn't a blue sky. This was a rose-colored sky that he was now floating in.
Sunset sky.
As opposed to walking down a Florida highway, which are very different things. So he said at that moment, though, as he floated through this rose-colored sky, he saw God sitting on his throne with Jesus at his side and felt the presence of the Holy Spirit. Yeah. And at that point, that changed his life. Revelation, done.
What year was this?
79.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you probably did too many drugs in the 70s, maybe, possibly.
And your eyes were bleeding, and that's why everything had a red hue.
Yeah, why is my eyes bleeding? She's probably having a stroke, and this is what he thought. So now the church it began as a Bible study group in Richfield Springs, New York. In the early 80s, a guy named Pastor Reggie was in charge.
Oh, yeah.
Pastor Reggie.
Cool as fuck.
Pastor Reggie sounds like he high-fives you when you come in. Yeah. Hey, Pat, good to see you.
Good dude.
Good to see you, man. Yeah, all right. Hey, you know what? There's refreshments. We got cookies up there for the kids. Come on, everybody, let's sit down. Let's have a good time and do some praising, huh? Like he's that guy, you know?
Yeah, I do like a white guy named Reggie. That's a cool dude. That's always a cool guy.
And in the early 80s, he had like a good little white guy fro going on, probably. Yeah. Hey, come on now. All right. He looked like Epstein from fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like
white
that.
Reggies are the best.
How's it going? Wears a lot of turtlenex, I feel, for some reason.
But he's so fun.
He's a fun guy, yeah. And so he's like, hey, we're working out a summer camp for the kids. You know what I mean? Want to get some good activities. I'm going to get a water slide. Yeah? All right.
Yeah. All positivity, White Reggie.
All positive, man. He'd previously been the pastor of a nearby church, the Cherry Valley Assembly of God. Mm-hmm. And he ends up doing that. And Jerry Irwin ends up taking over that church Jerry Irwin takes over the Bible study group in 1984.
From White Reggie?
From White Reggie, yeah. White Reggie's just high five. Hey, everything's cool. He's real laid back. When he comes across an aggressive Jerry like this, he's just letting Jerry take over. Hey, man, you know what? You take a shot at it. Maybe the people, maybe you'll do a better job than me. I hope you do. That's Reggie.
Florida man with bath salts in his eyes.
Yeah, he's coming in. I'm taking over the Bible group. Your basement Bible study group. I'm taking it over. And then he's like, sure, buddy.
Bloody eyes.
Sure, buddy. High five. And Jerry just looks at him and goes, nah. He just grunts. And one blood tear comes down his face. So Jerry moved the Bible study group into the basement of his own home. He's like, we're coming to my house now. I'm not leaving the house for this shit.
Yeah, fuck this. I'm in charge. You come to me. I don't come to you.
Yeah. Well, he said the participation went down. Only a handful of participants now. He got all the people left, as he put it. He'd rather have it this way rather than the early days with, quote, 25 or 30 disgruntled people, as he put it. Yeah. These people are shitheads.
Look, I'd rather play to the 12 in my audience rather than the 60 of somebody else's audience.
That's it, man. That's what I mean. Give me my crowd. Yeah. So he says that he tells the congregation that the reason why these people were here is because Pastor Reggie sucked a dick. He was a shit pastor. Called him an ineffectual pastor. And he said, quote, and by the way, he has a real, puts on a hillbilly accent when he preaches, which is ridiculous for this guy.
They pick that up in Florida.
Possibly. Yeah. He said, we had a real compromiser for a pastor at the time who had some real hypocrites for the music leaders. And, they lived disgustingly ever after until he didn't see any more glory. And then he tried to dump it on me.
Disgustingly ever after.
Disgustingly ever after.
Wow.
So Jerry and his first wife break up. Uh-huh. She takes the kids to Colorado because he's nuts. Yeah. And then he follows. This is how he ended up here originally, because first he did all this. He follows to Colorado. He ends up hanging around because she moved back with her parents in Colorado. Yeah. So he hangs around and gets in good with her parents. And her parents are like, Jerry's such a nice guy. What are you doing? What's up with that? And his wife's like, no, he's fucking insane. So she ends up running away with another man, leaving the kids behind. Just
what?
If the kids are my tether to him, I'll fucking sever that tether. Because I don't anything that gets me, I have to get away from him. That's how crazy he is. Causes a woman to just go, you're on your own, kids, and fucking jet. Because he's that nuts.
De Niro in Heat.
Yeah, gone. She thought he was insane, the ex-wife. He would stare at her just to make her feel weird. He'd just stare at her.
Do it.
Eyes bleeding, acting strange. Yeah. He would talk to, this is from her, he would talk to demons and paint weird stuff on the walls. Yeah, it's time to go. Yeah. When you're having chit chats with demons while painting shit on my living room wall, I'm out. Sorry.
You're painting images into the drywall. All right.
Fucking, I'm out, bro. I'm done. The wife said she left to protect the children. She feared Jerry's parents as well, claiming Jerry's mother once tied their son to a tree while babysitting him.
Oh, God.
You stay here for a while. Hold on. Here, let me... That's... Wow. You've seen the leashes in the mall that the parents have, but this is the next level of that shit. Heavy. This is tied to a tree. Fuck, man. So they said that once they moved to New York, Jerry got mean, and that's how it worked. Jerry got real mean, and it was just a very strange situation. So Robin runs away for her own good, and Jerry marries another woman here. Mm-hmm. He ends up marrying this other woman, and holy shit, man. Old Tracy. She's interesting. So they have, by the way, Jerry has a daughter named Tiffany from this first marriage that is going to play a huge role in this. Tiffany's got some issues. Tiffany's a lot like her dad. Let's just put it that way. So Jerry referenced his new wife's parents later on in this way, in the realm of saying that women need to submit to their husbands, using them as an example, his in-laws here. Quote, some husbands are afraid if they don't go along, they're going to get killed in their sleep. I truly believe that about my wife's parents. He said there was a fear inside that I might not wake up tomorrow if I don't do what she says. So there's only two choices. Either your wife fully submits to every whim that you have, or obviously she's plotting to kill you in the night. Plotting to kill you in the night. Obviously, that was the example of his in-laws' relationship that he saw. Okay. So that's his vision. That's what he's telling people. So if you don't submit fully, demon thoughts will come into your mind, and you'll want to kill your husband in his sleep. So,
oh boy,
guys, take control is what he's getting at here. So very, very weird. Jerry would urge men to take control of their wives under the threat that if they didn't, their very salvation was in jeopardy. That's salvation. That's your salvation. Hellfire for not controlling your wife. So people would take it seriously. Mm-hmm. And Jerry said, you need to take it seriously because everything I tell you, I'm just speaking for God. God is speaking through me. So it's all God just that's telling you this. It's just my mouth that's moving. So you should really listen.
His salvation is all yours. You just have to get it through me.
Totally. So New Year's Day, 1986, young Tiffany is born, Jerry's daughter.
There she is.
Jerry believed one day his daughter would take over, and he said that his daughter was his spiritual shadow, and Tiffany would see herself akin to God's right hand.
Oh, boy.
That's what he said. At 13, in a diary of hers, she kept just prodigious diaries that are really crazy. She would tell her she basically made up a biblical story about her own birth in a Bible. She claimed, and none of this is true, she claimed she was stillborn. Yeah. Okay? And someone hung her upside down and hit the bottoms of her feet, and supernaturally she spit out a substance, not birth shit, just some demon substance that was keeping her stillborn, and then she took her first breath and lived. Okay. So that's
the feet of a toddler, a fucking infant,
to get the demon out of her, though.
Yeah,
I mean it was justified. Obviously,
it was real deep.
Yeah, clearly
at the root, right at the feet.
Yeah, it was down into the thighs. You have to. It's like a glass ketchup bottle. You really got to pop the bottom of it if you want the demon to fly out, you know.
But when you do, it's a good solid stream of ooze that comes out.
Oh, you're gonna get all the demon. That's the thing. Once it comes out, it's out. It's out.
Yak it.
So that's her story at 13 that she decided. Yeah. So at 13, she said, let me make up a miraculous tale of my own birth.
Yeah.
That's disturbing at 13.
What's more miraculous, James? A virgin untouched having a baby, or you beat the feet of an infant?
But I mean, she decided to make up her own. That's the point. She was like, I mean, Jesus has his story. I'll have mine. Fuck it. You know, like that was her thought process. That's a disturbing 13-year-old. Who thinks of that at 13?
Ain't shit.
Who thinks of that at 13?
I know.
Go play with something. Go do something. What are you doing? Like
they beat my feet.
Beat my feet? This is in 1999 she's doing this.
Yeah.
There's AOL and shit. Like, she could have been instant messaging with people. Instead, this is what she's talking about.
So weird.
So, in 1989, Bruce says, I started going regularly to this living room basement church meeting and considered it as my God-provided safety net. So God gave this to me. there. He would bring Crystal along when she would be visiting him. She was 10 when he began attending regularly, and that's also the Irwins are having more children at this point in time. Okay. So Bruce is regularly attending, and that's where he first meets Debbie. Remember Debbie? That's where he first meets Debbie. And she's just a new friend for a while, but they'll end up getting married later on with kind of the explicit encouragement of Jerry. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. Played matchmaker?
Yeah, well, they become very God-fearing and dedicated to Jerry. So they'll do anything Jerry says. And Jerry likes to, he'll break up marriages if he thinks he finds a better match for people. He'll say, you need to get divorced and marry that person. And they'll be like, well, I don't know that person. And he'll be like, but I do. I know what's right.
Suited, I swear.
And the people go, okay, and they go get divorce papers.
Holy shit.
That's how crazy this gets. So they're dedicated to the whole thing. The pastor, he would say some weird shit, Jerry. Now, here's what Bruce said. Bruce said, I was very impressed with Jerry Irwin's preaching and teaching. He stuck to the Bible, pointed out what was plainly written, and also noted things which sometimes people assume, but which are not written. Many of the messages were tough. He started preaching years ago about having our thoughts under control, specifically under God's control, being renewed in the spirit of mind. But only Jerry, but only Jerry hears from God.
Oh,
they don't hear from God. The way this thing is, Jerry's their God lightning rod. So he's at the top of the church. God zaps him with some thoughts, and then he comes in and he's like, "Hey, God wants you to do this and that." And they're like, "Oh,
well, that's
cool."
helpful because I'm so busy doing what God wants me to do. I don't have time to listen to him.
I'm flat out of time. This is very.
Give me the Cliff Notes, Jer. I'll take care of it later. This
is very Rulo, Nebraska arm test style. Like it gets getting that silly. So Jerry also told them, look, if you leave this group, you lose your link to God. I'm the link to God. Right. So if you want to talk to God, I'm your guy. Otherwise, you go out there. There's no God out there for you.
What are you going to do?
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about our stylish friends at Quince. That's right. Let's go elevate your styles, people. Yeah. Get it going. Look good out there. And you can do it now without breaking your wallet, without breaking the bank, because at Quince, you can get high-end, versatile pieces at prices we can all actually afford, which is very nice. You want to get good stuff that lasts and it's good, and they have quality stuff that's very affordable. And you can do like we did, upgrading our stuff here, while still being a very reasonable price. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. It's all quality stuff. You're going to love it. Trust us, it looks good. And I've got the leather jacket. It's a very high-quality item. Real nice, soft leather. Yeah. Jimmy's got his linen pants he's rocking.
Yeah, they're terrific.
Come on, be like us. Be fashionable. Get in there with Quince. Indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/smalltownmurder for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/smalltownmurder to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about a very cool place, Thrive Market. Yes, we are both looking to get into the healthy swing this year. The problem is I don't know what's in everything, and I don't know if even I'm qualified to even read the labels to know if that's good or that's bad. Right. There's chemicals and things, and there's things floating around. I don't know what I'm doing out there. One of my favorite features, and I know you were talking to me about this, is the Healthy Swap Scanner in the Thrive Market app. Yeah, it's simple. You scan any item, and it'll instantly suggest a cleaner, healthier grocery alternative, it's great. Amazing. Yeah. That's great. Thrive Market also takes the guesswork out of finding these safe, healthy foods. For example, like I'm trying to get my protein intake up for energy. I'm always moving around. I need stuff. And I love that you can filter their site by the high protein options.
Nice.
It's very cool. And you can personalize this portion and you can put filters on it. And get ready. You should be ready for a junk-free start to 2025. Get ready for it and head to thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder and get 30% off your first order. plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/smalltownmurder, thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Jerry, by the way, is like his presence is a big thing. He's got like black slick back hair. He's over 6 foot tall. He's a big, giant, fat motherfucker who preaches, and shouts and says crazy shit from the pulpit. So
intimidating size, I guess.
Big size, and he's just he's a showman for this shit. He's good at controlling these people too. He's good psychologically. He's a con man. He knows how to psychologically do shit. He talked about in the 90s here, talked about his desire for overarching control. I'm going to give you some of his speeches in a minute here, and they are, wow, next level bonkers. He says, quote, "You can sit there, and when the service is over, there's this intimidation and manipulation from some of you, where you just want to push your will. And it's like some of you sit through the service and don't hear a thing that's said. You don't hear a thing. You don't learn a thing. And then you get over to me and you're like, oh, yeah, by the way, I want to talk to you about something. I wish I knew how that worked, how to maintain that control after service is over. I wish I could have
the lesson from when I say it and let me be after that.
Nope. How do I control you when you're not in front of me? That's what he was concerned with. He said, some of you I've watched over the years, and you're so arrogant. You're totally off the wall. You're half dead in your thinking because you're filled with the devil of strife and arrogance and pride. And this is a mistake that I've made because, to be honest with you, in the past, some of you weren't worth my time and my feelings, and that was wrong. But I just let you do your arrogant, self-righteous, evil things.
And without a specific person, everybody thinks he's talking about that.
Exactly. And he's looking around. He knows exactly what he's doing here. He would say that he would talk openly about wanting to take over, basically take the not only over the will of his parishioners, but their physical being too. He said he wants to pull their hair out and throw them up against the wall because of the way they've acted.
Okay.
Yeah. He said, some of you act so pious. You're so full of it. He'd say shit like that. It's fucking insane.
He's so religious. I'll assault you.
Yeah, and they said they never knew if it was going to be a speech that was like happy love, or he was going to come out and call you're all full of shit and you're full of the devil. Demons coming out of you. Nobody ever hit your heels and got them demons out.
Yeah.
So they were like, but I mean, hey, the congregants literally said he controls our getting into heaven. We can't get into heaven unless it's through this guy. So this is the way we do it. You know what I mean?
So exhausting.
Yeah. But in 1990, all of a sudden he leaves, takes off. Jer's gone. Jer Bear's out of there. Is a way to put it. He packs up his family. They moved to Rochester to pastor at a church that was part of what they called the Deliverance Movement. Do you know what that is?
No.
You're going to love this,
have
Jimmy.
Good context.
Yeah, they take people into the woods and bugger them. That's what it is. No. It's a lot of wood sodomy. The forest sodomy is their main tenet. It's a group of traveling ministers who practiced deliverance ministry, which is a belief that every ill person every ill in a person's life is not from luck, circumstances, things of that nature, your own, actions. It is actually, it's because you're possessed by a demonic spirit.
Okay.
So you lose your job, you get dumped, you're having a problem, your kid dies of SIDS. It's all because you're possessed by a demonic spirit, stupid.
It's inside you.
Yeah, because it's your fault.
Right.
So they would perform cleansing rituals to cast out the demons in people. Exorcisms, basically.
Can't wait how they did this.
Hillbilly exorcisms. Well, they said it looked like a scene from a horror movie. They'd have somebody on a bed fighting and writhing, and they'd be yelling and speaking in tongues and screaming at them and shit like that. It's fucking nuts. So who takes over the Word of Life? Who takes over?
Is it Bruce?
It is not. It's Rick Wright, Debbie's brother.
Oh, Rick. Yeah.
Debbie's brother. Her year younger than her brother. He took over services. Totally different. Now it's like a breath of fresh air, laughter now. They talk about nice things, and they talk about, joy and, love. We love God. Isn't that great? Let's sing a song about it, and then they're happy and totally different deal. Children of the church joined in social events, and socializing was good and everything like that. Pastor Rick liked everybody talking and getting to know their neighbors, whereas Jerry viewed socializing as, quote, empty chatter. If it's not about Jesus, you're wasting your time.
It's true.
Problem is, Jerry comes back.
Oh?
Yeah, they couldn't stand him. Even the deliverance lunatics kicked him out. They didn't want him.
Rochester ain't working out.
Yep. And Jerry also, while he was gone, he got the idea that there had been a conspiracy to get him out of town so another church could destroy his church.
Oh,
so he said this was a conspiracy. That's the problem. It was like he doesn't know if the people were aware of it or if it was just demons working through them. So he doesn't know whether to be mad at them or not or help them.
Were they cognizant? I don't know, but they did it.
Could have been a demon. I mean, I don't know who to blame at this point. So it prompted Jerry, as he said, to return. Probably he wasn't making any money, and that's a crazy thing. That's probably really what it was. By then, they've had a couple more kids as well. They're pumping out kids. Rick Wright continued as pastor, but Jerry, once he moved in, he's still the overseer of the church because he's the founder of the church. So at Jerry's behest, the members, they started a school here in the church.
Yeah.
So their kids didn't have to go to like public school and have their minds warped by this non-demon like.
You're right. It used to be a school, though, right?
It used to be a junior high. Yeah, so it's set up for it. That's good.
It fits, yeah.
Except the only thing they don't have in there is teachers. That's the problem.
Right.
They have a bunch of people who think this guy speaks for God, and they're going to teach kids shit. So that's the fucking problem here.
Yeah.
The cost about $3,000 to start up the school, and Bruce Leonard offered it up the financing. He said, "I'll do it."
Yeah.
And so they had a kindergarten through 12th grade school. Except the teachers weren't teachers. They're just church people who work for free.
That's not good.
They weren't required to have any kind of degree or special level of education or anything like that, just if they want to do it, if they feel like volunteering. Debbie was the school's kindergarten teacher and first grade teacher. She had no education to do that at all.
Doesn't know a college degree for this?
Doesn't have, no, not at all. So they followed the Accelerated Christian Education, the ACE homeschool curriculum, which is a Bible-based education. Accelerated, yeah. It's Christian education. Really gets you up to heaven quicker. So Jerry is involved in all sorts of shit here. He ended up buying the building. Jerry did. He organized $175,000 in contributions from the congregation to buy the building. So now it's a big deal. It's got 70 or 80 members. Well, it had 70 or 80 members when Pastor Rick was in charge.
Okay.
It went down to very little. Jerry left. Rick came in. It started swelling again because it was fun. And now Jerry comes in, and it's getting different now. Okay. Now it's turning into a business. The sale of they bought the building after they got the official name Word of Life Christian Church, to the point where you make out your tithing checks to WLCC.
Yeah, I mean, we now it's an LLC and
it's got to be
whatever the fuck it is, a CP3-2.
We got to have we got to have an R2D2 and a C3PO. There's and on top of that too, you got to have the you need it to be tax exempt.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. So
and a school gets you there too, right? It's got to.
I don't know how that, but I know a church does. So they're not affiliated with any other church, any denominational religion, anything like that. Jerry preached that, quote, to keep you in a backslidden place, to keep you in an ineffective and ignorant place, is what one of the congregants said later on. Jerry preached that other churches had doctrines from Satan. You can't go to any church; it's not all the same.
Right.
These are Satan doctrines that are planted in the church to drive you to hell. That's the thing. You don't realize it. I'm the only one who talks to God. Remember? Duh. So he said that, he said, quote, you can prove just about anything you want by using these scriptures. You can take these out and make them say just about whatever you want. Well, yeah, that's the point of why some people disagree with religion. It's for that purpose.
Yeah, you nailed it, sir.
He said, though, he's the only one that provided the true word of God. He said, you want to walk in the Spirit, then you need the accuracy of the word of God controlling you. If you want to walk in the Spirit, then you need the accuracy of the word of God leading you and illuminating your path. You might say, quote, well, I hear what you're saying there, but I can turn in this place in the Bible and it seems to be saying something different, or it says this. And so I decide that I'm going to hold on to what I see here and reject that part over there. That's just as big a mistake as any other thing you can do in Christianity.
Okay.
So there you go. He'd give talks and sermons and
can't hunt and peck. Yeah.
Oh God.
You can't cherry pick your favorite things. It's all or nothing.
Well, he would. During some of them, he would quote people. He would quote Bible passages in a derisive manner sometimes, like, that's what they think you're saying. But really, he would make up quotes sometimes, just make shit up that's not in the Bible and say, now in this one you can read here, and that's not in there.
Is he the mayor of Whoville?
Yeah. He said, hey, he would use his hillbilly voice here. Jesus Christ. He would, do his, hey, praise the Lord, hallelujah. He would call people nasty, no good, rotten individuals for people who weren't living in God or anybody that complained about anything. At one point he said, what's the matter with Jerry? He said, what's the matter with Jerry? What's the matter with Jerry is Jerry knows you're lying through your teeth.
Ah, you some bitch.
He said, that's what's the matter with Jerry. That's what's the matter with Jerry. He said, and it bothers Jerry when he sees you. Now he's talking like he's Ricky Henderson out of nowhere. He just turned into a professional athlete. And it bothers Jerry when he knows you're lying through your teeth to me and you have such a low, disgusting opinion of him that you would treat him with such contempt, especially when I'm trying to treat you right. Now he's an abusive boyfriend. I'm trying to be nice to you. You're making me hit you.
I'm trying to help.
Yeah, I gave you flowers last year, and now you make me hit you? What the fuck? Like an asshole. So he said, and I want you to know, for a long time after I came back, well, I was hurting inside. I cried sometimes because of the rotten way you people have treated me. But I don't know. Just something started happening, and I started getting the determined feeling to win, and I'm going to win.
I'm so sorry, Chair.
Can you win church? Is that something you can win? Can you win? Has that ever been said before?
Is there one of those?
I'm going to win, goddammit. I've never heard that before. That pastor's on a hell of a winning streak.
God damn it.
God damn it. Well, if you're going to win, fuck it all in. You know what I mean? God damn it is fine at that point. Jesus Christ, I'm going to win, god damn it.
My son was playing in a soccer league, and the kids were so bad. One of the kids scored on their own goal, and he screamed, God damn it, I suck.
Yes, that's an awesome kid. I would have yelled the same thing if I was that kid. Fuck my ass, this sucks. I'm so bad at this. Fuck. That's what I would have yelled.
God damn it, I suck. I was like, that's our MVP, you guys.
Oh, that kid's great. That kid's great. I love him. I wonder what he's doing now. He's probably a cool kid. It's gotten cooler.
Screaming, God damn it, in church, probably.
Fuck, man. So in 92, Bruce and Debbie went from knowing each other to being married. They got married here. At that point, Crystal also moves in with her father full time. She's an adult now, I think, and she's just moving in there, and she's going to be all in on the church.
Yeah.
Now, Jerry doesn't have a good place to live. So in October 93, he had Pastor Rick apply for zoning and building permits to build a 1,400 square foot place for the Irwin family on the third floor of the church at a cost of $45,000. That, of course,
we're gonna zone the building for also living, and
you're gonna live upstairs.
I got school, I got a house.
Oh yeah, you bet your ass. So Jerry was at the wedding of Debbie and Debbie and Bruce, and he looked pissed off because everybody was having a good time. Everybody said he was very weird. And he was getting uncomfortable, though, because he said that he'd been visiting. This is before he came back full time, and he'd been visiting, and he didn't like what he saw in the church. And he said, quote, every time I came to this church, you'd all play stupid. You know, a lot of you got so loose with one another, got so familiar with one another, just really stupid. But I walk on the room, and you all shut up. Now, either you despise me, or you know what you're doing is wrong. You know, what is it? So what are we doing? We're just playing games here with one another? This guy
hate me or you love me. Which
you hate me or you love me. So the Leonards, Bruce and Debbie, live in this house they bought for $28,000 in 1993.
Yeah.
$28,000. It was built in, it's like a 100-year-old house. It's pretty shitty, though. It's kind of a shitty house. There's mold and mildew everywhere. They don't keep house well at all. It's kind of a mess inside. It's not great at all. There's bottles and shit scattered all over the porch and stuff like that. It looks trashy, kind of.
Okay.
The whole place inside, it's never like, there's piles of clothes everywhere. It's not clean at all.
Are there dishes on the bed?
I think possibly dishes on the bed. We should really probably check that out. But everybody said the children were always clean and presentable outside of the house. Very, very clean.
That's what matters.
Yeah. There's a neighbor here who I'm going to call Aunt Smokey because she's like an 85-year-old lady who smokes a shitload, and she's hilarious.
Okay.
She makes friends with Debbie here. She like forces her way into a friendship with Debbie because Debbie isn't really that friendly, but she was friends with her. So Debbie would give her like a ride to the store sometimes because she didn't drive anymore. They said that the children, all the Leonard children, were spending an inordinate amount of time at church. Sarah was pulled out of public school and to complete her schooling at the church.
All right.
And then the other kid was pulled out and again put in there. So it was a lot was going on here.
Yeah.
Bruce, very patient. They said he was, like we said, low and measured and slow, that sort of thing. Debbie, everybody's called her a gentle person and a nurturing and caring mom. They said, though, not a good housekeeper, but neither was Bruce. They were both neither one. They said there was dinner would be later than they wanted it to. There'd be dirty dishes everywhere. They couldn't find clean dishes. Bruce was neither of them would discipline the kids really. Bruce would leave a chore list, but nobody would do anything. So it was kind of one of those.
Okay.
But they have more kids. November 8th, 1995, Lucas Benjamin Leonard is born.
Have to. These ones are lazy.
Yeah, maybe these will be better at keeping house. So he comes, and they have another son named Christopher, who goes by Chris, in 1998. So they're doing well, and they have another son in 2000 also.
Yeah.
So Aunt Smokey said the kids were adorable. That's what she said. She's great. I love her. Her accent is tremendous. So now Crystal has now moved in with the Irwins into the church. She's moved into the church, and at that point, Sarah had moved out after school also, and she ended up having a couple kids and going out on her own and leaving the whole area for a while here. Okay. But the family for a long time, it was Bruce, Debbie, and then Luke, Chris, and then a little sister and a little brother after that. Okay, now that's the family. The family's a little bit fucking weird. They stuck to themselves. Bruce, a neighbor said he was just kind of an odd guy, unfriendly, that sort of thing. And I thought about that, and I'm like, my neighbors probably think I'm insane. He can be weird, but he's not walking around. He doesn't have Murder Manor on the outside of his fucking office with walking around the property with machetes and shit. And I look like a maniac out here. What must my neighbors think of us over here? Both of us.
Who knows?
Sarah with her chainsaws all the time.
And you're just screaming, hey, just use that part of the property. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. You're good. Knock yourself out. I'm friendly enough.
Yeah. You can have half that yard. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't care. No, go crazy. So this is how the house is going. So they said why they didn't understand. They just didn't understand all of it. Debbie wasn't allowed to do things. I guess they would say if you talk to Debbie, if they were outside talking, they said if you counted to 10, Bruce would be there. He'd show up.
Oh.
And he would tell her very calmly, he'd say, okay, you've talked enough, time to come in. And Debbie would leave.
Oh.
Debbie would leave. Aunt Smokey would say, Deb, could you take me to the store over here? I want to go to the store. And they would go down to the gas station. And but she would say, yeah, I can do that. Debbie would say, then she'd go, let me ask Father first.
Oh,
her husband, she calls Father. Let me ask Father first if I'm allowed to drive the neighbor to the store down the street.
You know, I always wondered, is there anything creepier than calling your husband daddy? And we found it.
Father. Father and mother is the creepiest. I'm sorry. That's the creepiest because that sounds
Father,
even...
Mother, and then daddy.
And then daddy. That's creepiest. So the old lady here, Aunt Smokey, she would say that she'd just go to the door and go, I'm ready, let's go. But she would never go in the house because she thought it was weird. Aunt Smokey thought that Bruce was very domineering. She said she described him as controlling, strange, and weird. She said the kids were all very well-mannered, all the Leonard kids, very quiet. They said they were all socially behind, sheltered, kind of loners. Yeah. So they didn't really do much here. One of the neighbors said Luke was happy-go-lucky, smiling. All he had was a bicycle. Didn't go anywhere, never drove a car, never had a girlfriend, playing in the yard, throwing stones all the time.
What?
These kids are just bored.
All the time? Just
all
throwing
the time.
Rocks? Yeah.
Throwing rocks, riding his bike back and forth. Mm-hmm. They also weren't allowed to celebrate holidays either.
Okay.
When somebody mentioned Christmas, the littlest son said, "Oh, Christmas is bad, real bad." He was like, "That's like the worst. Like Christmas is fucking evil."
Yeah, that's a real bad day. We don't celebrate that one.
Well, Bruce later explained, quote, "We were encouraged to be scriptural, shied away from the pagan trappings of Christmas and Easter, live holy, obey those who have the rule over you, etc." Jesus. So Luke, the one kid, Luke, he's good at art as well. One year, the town of Paris, New York, not the city of Paris, France, chose him to represent them in a county-wide sidewalk chalk competition, and he won first place.
With sidewalk chalk?
With sidewalk chalk. So he's a good artist. He's got a mind for that sort of thing. He's got a different kind of mind than this family, Luke, honestly. He thinks outside the box a little bit here. They also gave the kids swimming lessons. All the kids were very good at swimming and that sort of thing. They said in the winter, with barely any snow on the sidewalk, Luke would climb out the second-story window of his house onto the porch's roof and do a full flip in the air and land on his feet in the street below.
Off the roof?
Off the roof. He was doing like some... I don't know if he's training to be a wrestler someday or what. But that's wild. So that's, he's daring. He's different. A kid like that has a daring mind like that doesn't want to be, if you don't talk to him, you're the devil and you won't go to heaven. He's like, I'm jumping off roofs and drawing shit. Fuck you.
And if you bottle that kid up, you're robbing him of being able to express talents and such. And that's not good either.
No. He went to school at the Word of Life Christian Church until he was 14. And then you'd think, oh, maybe they put him in a school and he needed to spread his wings a little bit. Yeah. No. Then Debbie just started homeschooling him and do about that. So a year and a half later, they joined a homeschool co-op that met on Wednesdays and all that sort of thing. But that kind of fell apart after a while as well. Yeah. The kids started acting out. The youngest daughter started swearing a lot. They had to scold her for using the F word in school.
Oh, boy. How old is she?
She's throwing down, I don't know, younger than 10.
Yeah.
So, but all the kids swore when their parents weren't around. They're kids.
Yeah, and toddlers swear, and that's the cutest.
That's hilarious when that happens. And if you're that into it and the kid doesn't see TV and stuff and the kid's swearing, that's because I heard you swearing.
Yeah.
Where else do they learn? They're not inherently, they don't know those words from birth and then you have to teach them not to use them. They only know them when you tell them to them, or someone does.
And they're going to keep saying it when I laugh every single time.
So Luke and Chris kept asking the neighborhood girl, what's public school like? They were like, God, I wish we could go to public school.
Is it weird? Is it great?
Well, Luke wanted to have a car and really wanted a girlfriend and stuff. Like they were like, oh man, we want girlfriends. That'd be super fucking cool if we had girlfriends, wouldn't it? Like,
what if I could kiss one and touch her faces? That'd be nice.
Oh man, I want to touch her boobs so bad. Also, they wanted to get a job. Luke wanted to get a job, so Luke got his parents finally to agree to let him work as a lifeguard in the town pool at the town of Paris when he was 15. But Luke had a good work ethic. He was a little bit shy, but they said that his work ethic was so good the other lifeguards liked him, so they wanted him back. Basically, he was really good. They said that he was always a nice kid. He'd shovel out neighbors' cars if they got stuck in their driveways in the winter and shit like that. He's kind of, his place in the family is as what they called inventor and repairman.
Okay.
He's smart. He knew how to do things. He acquired a broken mini bike, like a little dirt bike for people who don't know what that is.
A little P-dub.
When he was 17. And he sat in the backyard and took it apart and fixed it all up. And eventually he ended up putting it back together. And, well, no. He finished it. He pushed it up the street, over the curb, went between two parked cars, opened up the choke. He flipped open the choke, jumped on the Kickstarter, gave it some gas, and shot the bike out right on into an oncoming SUV. He was like Jay in the In-Betweeners when he was on that motorcycle and he just drove it 10 feet into that door and smashed his face.
Yeah.
That's what he did. Bang. Bashed right into the passenger side of an SUV.
Damn it.
Really fucked up his knee.
Oh, he stayed on it.
Yeah. Totaled his bike, broke his knee. He would be limping for the next couple years. It was a real mess. So he hurt his knee pretty bad here. On October 11th, 2015, the young girl from the neighborhood had a bonfire at her house and invited Luke and Chris to come along and a bunch of friends from school. And those are the friends from the neighborhood. But the school friends made fun of the Leonard boys and told them to fuck off and get lost. Yeah, because they're like, we're trying to finger this chick. Get the fuck out of here. You're not doing it, you fucking weirdo.
Right.
Yeah.
Part of this.
So after that, they stopped hanging out, really. And that was kind of the end of it. And this girl ended up moving away and just didn't know what ended up becoming of them, basically, later on. So the Leonard house is getting crowded. Sarah, who's 31 years old, lives here with all 4 of her kids now.
Oh, God, Sarah, get out.
Yeah. Bruce said you're allowed to move back in on one condition, that you also attend the Word of Life Church. You have to go to church. So
that's it.
It was meant to be temporary, but it wasn't. After a while, Sarah took over Chris's room in the attic, so Chris and Luke had to share a room, which was a big pain in the ass, obviously. Yeah. And they kept her. Also, Sarah helped Bruce keep tabs on Debbie's communication with outsiders.
Oh, my God.
So she began making sure Debbie wasn't out talking to the neighbors too much.
Watching Mom?
Yeah. Now, the church laws start to become serious at this moment here.
In the house?
No, in church. The Word of Life church members, a document was prepared called the Constitution and Bylaws of the Word of Life Church.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. The Tracy Irwin, who's Jerry's wife, she's the treasurer. And the Constitution listed requirements of its members, such as attending both the Wednesday and Sunday services, subscribing to the beliefs of the church, contributing financially through tithes and offerings, and submitting themselves to the church and its leadership. In return, members would receive certain benefits. 1, the best possible spiritual care.
Oh, I'll get all of it?
We'll buff that spirit up. We'll put the rust proofing on it. It's going to be serious care. Serious.
2 days a week personal training of religious care.
They would have pastoral counseling at no charge.
That's nice.
That's kind of what church is, really. Yeah. Otherwise, what are you going there for?
Well,
they said the primary benefit, though, is that while it's one thing to know this is from the document, while it's one thing to know a shepherd, it's quite another thing to have one. Each member receives the privilege of knowing that Pastor Rick is their pastor. That was at the time, but they'll switch that because this is all a big scheme by Jerry. He'll take it over. So the document gives the pastor authority over everything. But this was just Jerry putting this in place now while everybody was comfortable. Then he takes over, and now they're all under him now.
Oh, they're all his, yeah.
They were more comfortable under Rick to do that. So he was pairing up church members, for like I said, for marriage, from words of God that came to him. He brought a teenage girl named Helen into his office and told her she's going to facilitate another member's divorce.
Oh, boy.
She said no. And he said, oh, yeah, you're going to do that. She said, I can't do that. He grabbed a phone book, stood up, leaned into her face and told her, quote, you're going to look in the phone book for a lawyer to help this guy with his divorce. Okay? So he handed her the phone and told her to call this guy and find out how his divorce was progressing. So this young woman, Helen, she learned through Jerry, of course, that God had told Jerry that it was not gospel, because she was going to join the military.
Oh.
And he said, no, the God said you're not joining the military. God told me not to. Jerry said God would remove his protection of her if she joined the military.
Can't have that.
So she withdrew her enlistment in the Air Force. She was already enlisting in the Air Force. She had to withdraw her enlistment.
Sworn in, obviously.
No. Then he said, you don't want to go there anyway because, quote, God has a man for you in the church.
Oh.
So then Helen was handed a 200-page do-it-yourself divorce packet to fill out and say, fill this out for our buddy, and then you're going to be his new wife. That's how it works.
God.
Yeah, you're not going there. You're going to be his wife. So she just turned 20, and she marries a guy, and he already has 3 kids. This poor woman.
Fun. That's so much fun.
It was, and she thought, hey, this is great. I'm being faithful to God. She barely knew this guy. It was just some guy from church. She didn't even know him.
And now she's throwing her 20s away to take care of somebody else's kids.
Somebody else's kids here. It's fucking nuts. And he also, Jerry said that Crystal, Bruce's daughter there, was not allowed to be friends with this young lady anymore, even though they had been friends, which is strange. But now he said that Crystal has to be this girl's maid of honor, which is super strange. So Jerry's doing he's got a lot of stuff coming in from God. There's a lot of input. God's got a lot to say, generally,
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
It's be confusing. Sometimes you'll probably get it wrong. You'll mix 2 orders up.
That's the thing. So it's wild. Jerry told his followers that he knew they were thinking that Rick would possibly be the pastor again, but he said that that didn't work. So he said, it's not going to happen. He said, no, sorry. Pastor Rick went back to just being Rick. He's not Pastor Rick anymore.
Just Rick.
And that's it. But they continued attending, him and his 4 kids and his wife. And there you go. And Jerry would publicly trash them while they sat there, by the way, calling them heretics and infidels and shit. So now what happens if you leave? What if you just leave? Why can't you just leave? Right?
Yeah, he could smite you. You wouldn't know.
You never know. Well, members were told that defectors left because they were in sin and going to spend a lifetime suffering on earth, followed by eternal damnation. So they were, that's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot. He would accuse specific individuals of sexual sin from the pulpit. He would accuse them of having thoughts of sleeping with his wife. You want to fuck my wife, don't you? You thought about it, didn't you? From the pulpit. He would accuse them of wanting to sleep and also with sleeping with wives of other members.
Yeah.
And he would accuse people out of nowhere of desiring to rape his daughters.
Is he just drunk? What's happening?
He'd say, you want to rape my 9-year-old daughter, don't you? And they're like, no, what the fuck are you talking about?
He's like a drunk guy at a bar on Friday night.
Hey, you're going to rape my daughter, aren't you? Let's go outside, motherfucker, because nobody rapes my daughter. And the guy's like, I no speak English. I don't know what you're talking about.
Slide you look at my wife's tits. I know what you want.
I know what you want. Think of drool coming down.
Yeah, she's mine.
Eye blood. So would do all that sort of thing. At one point, Jerry stopped allowing people to take communion because he thought they were in too much sin. He's like, it's just overwhelming. You can't be doing this. Sorry.
You're taking an awfully big chug of the wine, my friend.
Yeah. So after a while, these people started thinking they were bad. God's telling us we're bad constantly, so we're bad.
How do you not have that? That's
Yeah, they couldn't leave. They need him more than ever now. They're such sinners. They need God, and they need God through him. So Jerry he'd be preaching. He preached all wrath. He wasn't a loving God kind of a guy. He's more of a fire and brimstone kind of a cat.
Okay.
So one couple that came and left, and they had their kids in the school and everything, they were shunned by the church members.
Yeah.
Their children none of the kids were allowed to talk to them anymore. They burned all of the kids' school records as well, so the kids had no school records, and they burned the wife's teaching certificate, which they had possession of. So there's a book out there called it's the Word of Faith. It's a different group, Word of Faith, and it's a North Carolina cult, and it's very similar. They do the same thing. They had a school, and if you left, they would fucking ruin you. They'd try to steal your kids, and
what the fuck?
It's a wild book, man. You got to read this shit. So anyway, they talked about all of this. They said that even years after they left, they would get threats from people and shit like that. It's wild. They also, this guy who was kicked out talked about how this guy talked about what they said. They said, blows that wound cleanse away evil, strokes that make clean the innermost parts. Some men must be beaten black and blue or have very severe correction. Folly is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of discipline will drive it far. Okay. So they're starting to talk about you got to beat the demons out of some people.
Sometimes it takes a rod.
Yeah, and like the one in North Carolina, they had this thing where they get people and the whole church gathers around them and yells and screams at them.
Wow.
Yells and screams and gets right in their face. And I mean, people have had heart attacks from this happening because it's just like it's so overwhelming. And it's no matter what they say you did, with no evidence, no proof, no even thought of it, you have to admit that you did it, or else it'll never stop. Basically, they'll just keep at you forever till you just say you did it. It's fucking disturbing. So, holy shit. They said that they said that he would say, is God a liar or are you a liar? Which one? Because his God told me this. So who's a liar?
Well, and we know his track record on honesty. So,
and we're not. You're going to stand up here and say God's a liar, but you're telling the truth? Come on, man.
We
obviously,
know your track record. We know his.
Yeah, obviously, you want to fuck my wife. Just admit it. That's how it goes.
Baby
so,
some bitch.
Yep. He then he got church doors that he would lock with a big chain, and got security big gate security cameras like from the beginning. He put up a fence on one side, 15-foot hedges on the other, so nobody could see in. Security cameras. Members were required to seek Jerry's permission to speak to or socialize with family members outside the church.
Holy shit.
Yeah, even Jonestown was looser than that. You know what I mean? They were told to let go of their friends. Even the Christian ones weren't good enough. They weren't Christian enough for this. He thought people were coming for him. A former member said, quote, "It was Jerry's goal to have every member of the church actually living there to protect them." Oh, that's what he said. And they were just waiting for it. They said, Bruce said, "Those of us who stayed believed God called us specifically there." He said that it was they thought it was a good special church. It had a pastor with a prophetic anointing. God speaks through him. And Bruce, the guy here, he said he was learning valuable lessons. He said forgiveness, being thankful, don't be judgmental, casting praying cares over God. I don't know what that means, but that's what he said. So once he reappointed himself, though, and did all this shit, Jerry, he's going to be the leader again. He said that he then had the guys, this is amazing, that he wanted new living quarters. So, quoting Ezra 1:4, he told the group that this Bible verse means that you need to build us something.
Ezra 1:4 means you all build for me.
Means an apartment with a living room with mahogany furniture, French doors, a bathroom with a spa tub, an office, a room with a trampoline, and an indoor basketball court. You need to have all those things.
Not only for you to build me something, I need it to be amazing.
Well, here's the verse that causes that. This is the exact verse. Quote, "And whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourneth, let the men of his place help him with silver and with gold and with goods and with beasts, beside the free will offering for the house of God that is in Jerusalem." In other words, I need a fucking hot tub, is what that means. You should get me a hot tub, buy it, and install it.
Skip the silver and gold. I'm doing you a favor, really. Get me a hot tub.
It's going to be great, honestly. You're welcome to the basketball court whenever. We'll have pickup games. So they're expected to work long hours, well into the night, cleaning and maintaining the Irwin residence and the church, all these people. They're tasked with removing. When they fix the church up, they just have the guys remove fucking portions of asbestos. There's no special equipment. They don't know what they're doing. What? They're just ripping asbestos out of the walls. This is an old building. They said that sometimes directions from God's word would dictate that broken tiles be stacked in the storage room and left undisturbed. All those broken tiles, God said put them in there, okay?
They're trash, but we're going to hang on to those.
They're full of asbestos, these tiles. They need to go, but they would just stack them up. So these people would just be walking by all this asbestos pile every fucking day with these tiles. They were required to work at least 3 hours each day after each service. Everybody was. So They also were expected to cover the cost of materials, too. I mean, come on, Jesus Christ. It's God's house. You got to do this. So Bruce was in charge of maintaining the grounds and maintenance, even though he has a master's degree in soil shit. He's doing that. He knows how to do this, too, so why not? They have him do that. He said that they noticed that in one sermon, Jerry kind of moved into violence. He would quote scripture and then turn into something dark and create his own interpretations. Mm-hmm. One day he said this, quote, I could be like Jim Jones and make a whole lot of money and deceive a whole lot of people. We could start our own commune. I could have 20 wives, like I'd want 20 wives. He laughs. Then he says, maybe 20 slaves. How's that?
I don't like that at all.
This is the pastor of the church. Yeah. Why you don't bring up Jim Jones unless to say he's a bad guy. Don't go, I could be him if you know. They also would talk about, they'd take the men downstairs and talk in the boiler room about how they need to stockpile weapons. Now he's mixing some David Koresh into this whole deal. He would tell them, Jerry would tell them, we would be able to defend the compound really well if we stockpiled weapons in the basement down by the boilers.
Oh, God damn it.
So that room is always padlocked, though, so no one really knew if that ever happened or not. Jesus fucking Christ. So the one family that left, or anybody that didn't show up regularly, Jerry would, when they did show up, Jerry would tell them, be gone, you're like the plague. Uh-huh. Yeah. And he said that their time at home wasn't even theirs. He said, how many of you know, wow, I call you up and I say I want to talk to you, and it's not very nice what I have to say. It's because I began to realize that what you do under my oversight directly affects me, and I'm responsible before God for what you do. I got to answer to God. So you think it's bad me yelling at you, try having God yelling at you. That's worse.
I got to run off the chain of command, and my boss is an angry boss.
Oh, fuck yeah. Well, they get even weirder here. People start to notice, people outside the church notice that Debbie's personality and her children's personality are getting weirder and different.
Starting to change, yeah.
Bruce is still quiet, so he's the same. But there's a thrift store. Enough. He's weird enough. He never got weirder. How do you get weirder with Bruce? And if he changed, he'd be more normal. It'd be the only way to do it.
Giant guy that now speaks fast.
That's it. Yeah, that's all you can do. And he's got like a big beard and like a big gray hair and big gray beard and all that shit too.
Calling all dog owners. Your furry friend deserves top-notch nourishment, and Ollie delivers the clean, fresh nutrition your dog needs in 5 flavors they'll absolutely flip over. Ollie is made in U.S. kitchens with ingredients carefully sourced from trusted growers and producers around the world, with absolutely no harmful fillers or preservatives. With protein-first recipes like fresh beef with sweet potatoes, fresh turkey with blueberries, or fresh lamb with cranberries, you might start thinking, dang, my dog eats better than I do. And that's probably true when it comes to Ollie. Give your pup a fresh start this new year by letting them taste test a personalized meal plan with Ollie. Head to ollie.com/Wondery. Tell them all about your dog and use code WONDERY to get 60% off your first box of meals when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a clean bowl guarantee on the first box. So if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/Wondery and enter code WONDERY to get 60% off your first box. Start your dog's new year off right with Ollie. Start your dog's new year off right with Ollie.
Creating really great retail experiences is tough, especially with multiple stores, teams of staff, fulfillment centers, separate workflows. It's a lot. But with Shopify Point of Sale, you can do it all without complexity. And let's face it, acquiring new customers is expensive. With Shopify POS, you can keep shoppers coming back with personalized experiences and first-party data that give marketing teams a competitive edge. In fact, it's proven, based on a report from EY, businesses on Shopify POS see real results, like 22% better total cost of ownership and benefits, equivalent to an 8.9% uplift in sales on average relative to the market set surveyed. Want more? Check out at shopify.com/Wondery. All lowercase, and learn how to create the best retail experiences without complexity. Shopify.com/Wondery.
So he's an interesting guy. The thrift store clerk that they go to all the time, the guy who worked there said that They'd be really weird. Their heads would be bowed all the time like they were under hypnosis. Said it was really weird. The library director said that Luke used to go to the library happy and all that kind of thing. And then after a while, he stopped. They said this in like 2015, quote, he wasn't friendly. He wouldn't say hi or talk to me anymore, the librarian said. So, yeah. Meanwhile, Sarah, the one daughter at the house, she's got all her kids there. Like, their youngest daughter, the Leonard's youngest daughter, just like disappears for a long time.
Yeah.
And anybody would ask, hey, where's your daughter? They would say, she's with the babies. She's taking care of Sarah's babies.
She's just home. But
so
she doesn't come here.
Yeah, everybody thought maybe she was pregnant and they were hiding her or something like that. But one day she just came out and was holding one of the kids and just going, yeah, no, I just been hanging out with the kids and that's it. So it's very fucking weird, man. It's like she just was in the house for a year and didn't come out.
Factual statement.
Yeah, strange shit. Luke starts talking about wanting to join the army here and shit like that at some point. Basically, all these kids want something that will get me away from here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. The government can own me. It's better than you owning me because at least there's other people and I'm allowed to be normal if I do that.
Right.
But my weekends are mine, type of shit. So, yeah, he was
for the weekend.
Working for the weekend. Jerry can see things, though, so you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Jerry warned them, quote, if God shows me something, I know you're doing something evil and wrong, and I come and ask you a question and you lie to me, I just make a mental note. I know that you're a liar and you can't be trusted. You have no credibility, and I will not warm up to you, so to speak, until I know that you've repented and you're practicing truth.
That's a hard-line stance on it.
And the only way to recover and to get his respect back and to get his everything back is to admit the accusation, no matter what the accusation. And
even
that's
if it's
it.
Not true.
Yep. One guy here said that he would go to the church as a child with his family. He said he would accuse me and call me a liar, and I had to back up what he said so he wouldn't get mad. Because if you say that's not true, then you're calling Jerry and God a liar. You can't do that. So one time Jerry had accused his brother and father of molesting his cousin, which didn't happen, and the girl insisted never happened as well. He just said, God told me you molested that little girl, and you have to admit to it. So they had to, or be beaten. So then he said they need to get physical. You people aren't admitting things the way you need to admit it, so we might have to start getting physical here, obviously.
I got to beat it out of you or India?
He said... it's what he said. He goes, quote, y'all call them names. You'll tell them they're no good. Are you hearing me? Instead of taking that stick and just spanking them when they need it and obeying the scriptures that drive the iniquity far from them. So you should beat them harder, not just spank them. Wow. He said that the kids would be, sometimes these kids would be like released after midnight because they're getting yelled at for hours.
From the church?
From the church, yeah. No food, no dinner. They'd just be there all night getting yelled at. And they said typically they would have to stand for most of that time period because they were accused of being rebellious or that they had a devil in their head. So therefore, they'd have to stand and pray aloud or read the Bible aloud to fight off the devil. That was how it worked.
That's what does it, huh?
It's the only way to do it, bro. I mean, Jesus, you were doing that lately? No. You could be full of the devil, man. You full of the devil, Jimmy?
I don't.
So Bruce said it's not uncommon for someone to be on discipline. He said, though not completely shunned, the interaction was limited to necessary communication. Since about half of us were family, it's kind of nixed out social family stuff like birthdays, getting together. Also, the length of discipline was open under the single direct control of the discretion of the pastor who is hearing from God. Just
we'll be treated on a case-by-case basis.
Not even a sentence here. Yeah. They said that they were told that if they're chatting with one another for no explicit Christian purpose, then such as, Bible study or something. If you're chatting about the Bible, that's different.
We're talking about barbecue coming up.
Nope. That's wasting time and being led by the devil. That's what that is. Members of each household were to keep to themselves. Absolutely. If Crystal, who is their daughter, right, Bruce and Debbie's, if she went to her father's house and Debbie was there, she wasn't allowed to talk to Debbie because Debbie wasn't her biological mother. It's her stepmother. So you're not allowed to talk to her. Only people who are related. So, wow. Crystal ended up getting married, moves into a house of her own. Debbie was not allowed to visit. Only Bruce and the kids were allowed to visit. Yeah. But she's not blood related, so nope. Also, Pastor Jerry was militant when it came to members socializing everywhere else, too. You were fucked if you were, like, hanging out with people. It's also sinful to watch television because most of the programs were just evil influences parading as entertainment. Sure. Children had to ask their father's permission to watch, particular programs or movies or something like that. When students at the school weren't studying, Jerry would entertain them with, this is what he would show them, government conspiracy movies. He'd show them crazy YouTube shit of conspiracy theory lunatics. That's what he's showing the kids, and he's telling them that's real.
Is 4 hours on the Zapruder film.
Yeah, which is what the Rulo, Nebraska did too. Conspiracies. Yeah. Remember Red Dawn he'd play all the time, and that was his. He didn't have the access to conspiracy films, apparently. So they said that dating didn't happen with children unless they were instructed to go out with an assigned person connected to the church. A lot of times they would have the girls or the guys date people outside the church just to bring them into the church. You go get that guy and bring him in there. They said that that all came from God, of course. They said chastity was a big deal here. It was an obsession. So was refraining from masturbation. Not only was masturbation seen as sinful, but it meant the devil took complete control of you if you whacked it. Complete fucking satanic control because you whacked it. It's fucking, it's interesting. So, okay. Now, Jerry said Satan wasn't the only one taking over these people. Jerry accused parishioners of controlling other members through witchcraft, obviously. Yeah. Tiffany, his daughter, was convinced of the witchcraft, and it became her total obsession. She believed a demon emanated from Rick, Debbie's brother, Rick's wife, Margaret, and that this demon attacked Tiffany when she played the keyboard, and it caused her panic.
It got me while I was playing the keyboard.
She said it got in my brain. I had a demon in my brain that said, what if the witchcraft caused her to mess up the chords? What if it wasn't God's will for her to play that part of the song?
Oh, God.
So basically she turned into a batter who had like a baseball hitter who's having a slump and is in his own head too much. That's what it is. So, and she blamed it on this person. She said, what if she brought Satan into the room by playing a part of the song or shouting when it wasn't God's will? What if she gave this lady's witchcraft? What if she gave into it right there in front of everybody? She wrote these full out in her diary, all these panic attacks when she was 17. What if this happens? So here's some of Jerry's sermons, by the way.
Great.
Some of you think that your mind is your own, to think whatever you want to think, wherever you want to think it, and you don't have a right. That's just the seed of sin that'll lead eventually to death. Okay, that's one day.
Yeah.
Here's the same day. The first couple years I was serving God, going to this Bible study in someone's house. I went to a lot of Bible studies in people's houses, and I just quit doing it because it was just as futile and a waste of time. I began to learn just what to do, what God was telling me to do. And sure, God would send me some places and want me to attend services and get involved in home groups, and I've done it. But you can't just go floating around to every invitation you're given. It's just a waste of time. And I remember at the end of this Bible study, last time I ever went to this house that I can remember, the teacher, I'm pretty sure, was given readings about wives submitting to their husbands. Reading out of, Ephesians, some Bible shit, and other places in the scripture. And we walked out the door. This spiritual woman, we walked to the door. The spiritual woman, I'm being very cynical, she was just a downright butch of a woman. She could have changed her name. She walked in the door, or she should have changed her name. She walked to the door, and she said in about this tone of voice, in a big, deep voice, he said, I let my husband wear the pants in the house, so he just wears the one I tell him to. Right. And as we're walking out the door, stupid fools, she said. That's evil.
Yeah.
He also said, maybe people are self-deceived. They have this thinking, brother, They think that I don't see it and I don't know it, and they think that they can act any way in my presence, but I don't. They can act one way in my presence, but I don't know how they really act when my back is turned, when they're someplace else. I know it. It's just an uncanny ability.
It's just being a person.
He said it haunts me sometimes. I know what people think. Say, what would God tell you what I'm thinking, or why would God tell you what I'm thinking and tell you I've said what I've said to my wife or husband when you're not around? It's because I'm the pastor of the church and I need to know. Total fucking domination is what it is. Here's one. Quote, I'm sure nobody in here does, but when you were in the world, you did. You let your children turn on these television shows where you've got these demons. We let our kids watch these ninja mutants or whatever.
They're turtles, sir.
Ninja mutants or whatever. How many of you know what the ninja were? They were paid assassins, you know. They would ruthlessly and cold-heartedly murder people. Not the turtles, though.
No.
But now there are...
Saving April.
Yeah, but now there are heroes. A ninja was nothing more than a paid assassin, a paid killer. And there's so many other things. I'm sure there's a multitude of new programs on that teach you demonology and witchcraft and all those evils. And then kids come to church and they have this stupid look on their face. This is boring. This is boring. Well, I'll tell you what. You just keep it up for a few more years and you get into hell and you won't be so bored for 1 second now, will you? They'll keep you on your toes. The very ones that taught you all those things through the cartoons will be there to teach you some more. You're going to be dancing in hell with them cartoon devils. That's right.
You and Donatello down there roasting.
Oh, man. Now, here's another one here. I feel for these people that I'm about to tell you about, but you got to listen to me. It's like the person who comes out of a cult, the bitterness, the anger, and the resentment they feel toward those who lied to them, especially when they find out it was a lie and they got out of it. But if you look at it from the truth's point of view, you've got an individual came over, knelt down in front of someone and said, beat me. Please beat me. I want to be beat. Now, in the light of that, you know, what right do they have to be bitter and resentful of the people they told to beat them after they beat them? So if you get your ass kicked in church like that and you were asking for it, then what the fuck are you complaining about? That's why you're here.
Why are you so upset?
What are you pissed about? So 2009, Debbie fucks up bad. Breaks rules, talking to people, making friends, talking to old ladies, not cool. Jerry believed her to be one of the host of evil spirits, and Bruce is her accomplice. Mm-hmm. And that's why she was always so sociable, because it's the devil. It's like a devil's flower trying to draw the parishioner bees in. You know what I mean? Yeah. For that devil pollen that they're going to come take back to the hive. It's the best way I can put it. So she said that she drew others into her sin, and they're going to reap judgment on her. God sent Jerry the word that church discipline needed to stop being treated like a joke. Take this shit seriously. She said Debbie allowed her children to go out and have fun, knowing it would get her in trouble. What does she want? Yeah, the Irwins can. Yeah. You knew it was coming. The Irwins considered children engaging in normal outdoor play to be, quote, roaming the streets.
Yeah.
So Debbie got yelled at for that all the time. She was also she sometimes allowed her kids to join community activities like soccer and shit like that, hoping to stay under the radar, but she would get caught all the time, and then they would shame her in front of the whole service, and she would be placed on church discipline. So, yeah, Jerry, once chastising Debbie, said, the spirit of sickness attacks this church because either the devil uses the filth of your house to make your kids sick, or else he moves on them to go to someone else's house in the neighborhood who is sick. Then he'll move on. Then he'll move on to Crystal's house or some other lady's house, and it spreads around, a vicious cycle of sickness. I don't know why you have hatred in your heart, but your hatred, your rebellion against me, and your burning desire for revenge is not going to help anyone. It's only going to hurt them.
This is going to culminate terribly.
Oh, this is coming up real bad. Mm-hmm. It's right about now. So Tiffany, in 2009, Jerry's daughter, takes over the role of assistant pastor. Oh, okay. You have to understand all of this to understand what happens. That's why we're doing all this whole thing. So she puts together a special series, including one about merging gospel stories with signs of the zodiac. Okay. It was a novel approach the congregation found refreshing. She's also good at performing. She's very out there. She became a self-ordained minister at age 25. She, by the way, at that point, doubled the length of worship service from 2 hours to 4.
Oh,
4 hours. She was immersed in Bible study all the time. She had notes everywhere.
You're going to need it 4 fucking hours. Jesus.
4 hours. Well, the notes were to yell at herself to work on her for having pride. Mm-hmm. She shouldn't have pride. She also wrote in her thing that she knew more than anybody else does about the Bible. So her brother, Joe, turned into a fucking lunatic as well. He would sit in on classes, look at the kids. He's a big, burly guy, too. He and Dan were the church muscle, the giant guys who would stand at the doors with their arms crossed and all that sort of thing. Joe would come to service with a big Bowie knife strapped to his leg. That's normal.
May as well.
Now, Tiffany, she saw everybody as an enemy trying to persecute her.
Really?
She was like her father, but extra. She saw demons inside of people glaring at her through their eyes. She could see physically these demons. People were either trying to hide things from her or attack her. She said that when someone was thinking critically about things other than God, she believed that meant that person had a demon inside them, and the demon would keep Tiffany from receiving God and achieving what God had planned for her. She said basically anybody who didn't like her was probably they had to put up with it because she was the pastor's daughter. So she said it was all that she could do was to try to find these people because they were looking at her with demon eyes because they didn't like her. So she believed she had a thing, she had a thing like, oh, I just am doing this because I'm the pastor's daughter, and that's what they're going to think about. Junior's complex, which is normal, and she instead just blamed it on everybody else, that they must hate her and have demons looking through her eyes, rather than, I got to try to fill my father's footsteps, shoes, whatever. Walk in his fucking footsteps. Yeah, there you go. So, holy shit, she's fucking nuts. She believed that the parishioners had become crafty and hiding their hatred for her, their secret hatred. She said even her own mother didn't like her, and her father feels contempt for her as well. When her siblings showed her love, she wouldn't receive it. She was just constantly in anguish and fucked up in the head because of this whole thing. She prayed for a husband for years. She also prayed that God would remove her fear of men. She believed men existed to take advantage of her, and that every single man she came in contact with was entertaining bad thoughts that were coming from Satan, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. She heard voices. She hears voices, Jimmy. Loud, raspy whispers that she assumed were men having immoral thoughts about her. So she has like a what women want thing, but backwards, and only rape thoughts. Only.
Oh, my God.
Only, yeah, just.
Oh my God,
that'd be a much worse movie.
Yeah.
Everywhere she goes, like, I'm gonna grab her and bash her over the head, and I'm gonna stick it in her. You're gonna join me? Yeah, let's Eiffel Tower this broad. That's all she hears for 2 hours. She lived in constant fear of being raped and kidnapped. She said that when she was 20, she wrote of a vision in which God came to her and addressed these fears, telling her, quote, no one will in any way hurt you. Still, she had nightmares of being raped by men in church. She hated men for watching porn and believed them to be sexual predators and child molesters.
Well, you're wrong, and I'm sorry about it, but I'm not sorry about it.
Wow. One diary entry talked of being as young as 7 years old and having men covet her like a piece of property. She went on to name several adult males in the church and accused them of sexual thoughts for having offered their laps to her as a young child. Another entry, when she's 19, she said her fear of being sexually assaulted developed when she was a young girl after a church member played a film about slavery that included a scene of a little girl being molested. So she was convinced that would happen to her.
Oh, my God.
Spring of 2012, Tiffany starts experiencing delusions that Luke Leonard is a demon-possessed kid. He's fucked.
The little guy.
Him personally through demons demons working through Luke are trying to infiltrate her dreams with sexual deviance in a playground of witchery. That's what she told people.
What a labyrinth of words.
She's 26.
I once woke up and my pussy was wet, and it's because my little brother's...
Because I thought about a 16-year-old from church.
Wow.
So she couldn't handle that and said, no, it's demons working through him into her, even though it's her dream.
And that's Bruce's
it's his
kid,
fault.
Yes?
That's Bruce's kid, Luke, So after she said one night she said she believed she brought a dead puppy back to life.
Well, you didn't.
She personally brought a dead puppy back to life. Then Tiffany, she said she went to sleep. She had visions of Luke with a whip and a desire to hurt someone.
Yeah.
In her diary, she recalled pleasant, lustful thoughts of the boy.
Yep.
This is what the book said, permeating her half-awake state and causing cramping pain and discharge. Her pussy's wet. Yeah. She had a wet dream, essentially. I don't know if girls can have wet dreams.
Girls
I guess so.
Do that, right?
I guess so, yeah.
I mean,
why not?
They wake up and they're turned on. Just
wake up and
probably not
it's different.
finishing. I doubt that.
I don't. Maybe. Hey, good for you if you are. I don't know, ladies. So the wet dreams or not, ladies. So she said the temptation would creep in over and over again, and she would fight it. She's mad at other people because she's horny.
She's mad at other people because she's horny for a child.
Yeah, she's horny for a child. So she apologized to Jesus in case she'd given in, which she wasn't sure she had, but she didn't know if this was part her fault, and promised that she would never sleep again rather than sin.
But that's not the answer.
She blamed it all on not her mind or not this or that. Luke's sorcery, she said. God damn it, that Luke. So 2012... Jerry's a fat diabetic and has a stroke and and he's going to die soon. So that'll be fun.
That's terrible.
Yeah, good for Jerry. I'm so happy. That's why I didn't put that in a sensitive way, because fuck him.
I wonder what his diet is. Do you think it's just shitty food all day, every day?
It's fucking gotta be. It's gotta be. She had her preaching through loudspeakers all day and night. She'd be done with a sermon, Tiffany, and then they would just loop it like Jonestown to play over and over until her next sermon, which would then loop over and over till the next sermon. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's not okay.
Just through the loudspeakers.
In case you missed the promised one, here it is again. Same second verse, same as the first. Here we go.
Let's do it one more time. More time, just so you can memorize it. They had more than 100 dogs, too, on premises.
Oh, dear God.
They said they had them everywhere. The third floor, they put in a sliding glass door and built in an upper deck where they let some of the dogs out there. They installed platforms and waist-high fencings to keep the dogs from fucking jumping off the...
There's shit everywhere, right?
Shit everywhere. So, December 8th, 2012, Jerry dies. Sort of.
Oh, hey.
Okay. Tiffany's taking over the church now as soon as Jerry's dead. But approximately 35 people are attending the church. This includes the Irwins. So families started to come in, and they came in and all this shit. As they were praying this day, the congregation was told that Tracy, Jerry's wife, was currently driving Jerry's dead body across state lines from northern Indiana to a Christian ministry in Missouri, so that TV minister Mel Bond, who claims to heal and perform miracles, could lay hands on Jerry's dead body and bring him back to life.
We're going to get him back.
2 days after he's dead.
Don't worry, guys.
Wow.
He's blood and stinks, but we're going to get him back.
The church was excited. They were like, all right, Jerry's coming back. They were jacked for it. Yeah, they were jacked for it. A few of the men paced along the sides of the sanctuary waiting for word, like, when's word coming in? When's he going to be back? Let's hear Jerry. And they stood, they prayed. 12 hours they prayed for. Finally, about 9:30 p.m., Tracy gives the report to the parishioners that it appears that Jerry has come back to life.
Stop it.
He's back. He's back, baby.
What if you were dead for 48 hours, James, and like the process
Don't bring me back to life.
Yeah.
Don't bring me back to life. I don't want to at that point.
The process has started. I don't want
It'll be all fucked up. Yeah. They said that his heart was beating weakly and he was taking shallow breaths, but he's back. He's back. Everyone went, oh, thank God. Jesus Christ, Jerry's alive. But they were like, well, how did this happen? This is wild. This is crazy. So with the word of all of this, the women and children are told they can go home, And, they've all been at church for 12 hours with no food or rest or anything. So the men were invited to stay to continue to pray, though. But then at 3:43, at 3:43 a.m. in reality, a police officer was dispatched to the room of a resort where a male was not breathing since 9 a.m. the previous day. They had to call the cops and have Jerry actually taken by a fucking coroner and all that stuff there. Yeah. So he's definitely been dead, never came back to life. The officer questioned the family for hours. They detailed that the Irwins were in town for Jerry's foot surgery and said Tracy stated that Jerry was awake and well the last time she saw him. That was midnight on December 7th. And she said she awoke at 9 and found Jerry, and he was very stiff. She stated that she knew it was too late for medics to bring him back, but she believed in her religion that with prayer, the dead could be raised. So there you go. So they told the followers the next morning. Tracy had said, though, that Jerry spoke to her in a vision while he was taking shallow breaths and his heart was beating. And he said to her, listen, after this resurrection, my quality of life is going to be for shit. Like, for real.
Oh, so bad. Yeah.
It's going to be super bad. Everything's breaking down inside. It's not going to be fun at all. It's going to be unsatisfying. So Tracy decided to let him go. Because it would have been, he didn't want to, it's bad. He'd rather just go to heaven.
48 hours. Things fell off already.
Absolutely. Now, Luke was kind of doing his own thing at this point. He would walk through the house. He started to get really into church for a minute. He'd walk through the house looking for like movies that were just entertainment that weren't Christian. And he would get them all in a box, then get his baseball bat and toss them into the air and destroy them with a baseball bat.
Beat entertainment.
Yeah, yeah. Also, the Leonards decided, this is fun. Try this with your kids at home. Just to memorize the book of Proverbs as a family. Just do that. Just memorize it completely. So Luke went beyond and memorizing even more. On his own, he started a Bible search, writing down references and verses that contain the words faith or Holy Spirit, and he committed to 2 hours a day of prayer.
Luke, tell nobody. Tell nobody. They're all going to think you're crazy.
Holy shit. When he wasn't praying, he was speaking in tongues under his breath, and that included when he went to the store. Okay. And when he caught himself not speaking in tongues, he would start over with what he started with. So, okay. Now, the sisters, Sarah with all the kids upstairs and her younger sister living up there too, are getting super weird. They pushed furniture and boxes in front of the door. They padlocked the other door in the attic on both the outside and the inside and added a key lock on the outside, which they jammed with aluminum and super glue so you couldn't get in. Wow. They rarely went alone to the outside lower part of the house. They never went alone to the bathroom. They took their meals to the attic where there was a crock pot, a microwave, and a mini fridge. This is fucking crazy. They basically stayed up there because they were so scared of anything that could happen to them.
Because they don't want to be raped, right?
Yeah, they don't want to be raped, yeah. Sarah would get up there saying over and over, would just say, I choose Jesus, 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 Jesus. That's all it was. Kids all over the floor on mattresses everywhere. It's a fucking disaster up there. Sarah went downstairs one morning and Luke offered her a cigarette.
Oh?
She thought she heard God say, use caution. Okay. Luke read Sarah his school report, which was a pro weed legalization paper.
Yeah.
As she read it, she told him, your eyes are red. And he said, I've been smoking weed. And then laughed like he was joking because he gave her a thing on weed. And he said, what do you mean they're red? And she stared at him and she looked in his eyes and she said, you're not the same Luke. You're a new creation. And ran away from Luke. Now he's got the devil in him. Yeah. Luke turns 19. He's 19 here. And he's not a new creation. He's just tired of this shit. He's sick and tired of it.
Yeah, he's had enough.
He wants out. He wants a girlfriend. He wants a job. He wants to join the army. He wants to get the fuck out of here to whatever that is. If this was the 30s, he would have grabbed a bindle and hopped on the rails. He does not care. He has a job letting neighbors' dogs out and feeding them. This one particular neighbors who are always out of town. October 11th, 2015. The Leonards take 2 cars to church because there's a lot of them. So they take 2 cars to church. They have to wait to get into the church because it's all locked up and everything like that. So here they go. And this is on camera. They record all the sermons and everything. Tiffany's up on the pulpit, and she says, one of you is practicing witchcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of you. So they're like, okay, this is weird. Chris, by the way, was taking notes on the sermon. He's so into it, younger Chris, until the witchcraft thing came up, and he's like, that's weird. He said that because he figured that they were going to attack them now because they had been attacking Debbie for letting them do things. So he was like, oh boy, here we go. So he wrote that down, and she said if people had obeyed and honored him, meaning capital H him, he wouldn't have the people wipe them out. God will take the biggest crap storm and turn it into the biggest blessing. Crap storm.
That's the pastor I want.
Yep. And then she said that she needs to stop. You need to stop helping these kids be rebellious. She said it's time for the devil to stop being protected. That's right. Her brother Dan was going in and out of the service, but Tiffany was in there the whole time. And then Luke and Bruce said we have to leave to let these dogs out. And Tiffany said she thought they were full of crap, that they didn't have to do that they were just trying to get out of church. She said nobody pays someone to watch their dog 2 weeks out of the month. People who are out of town do. Yeah. They do. Yeah. So they went and they let the dogs out, and they came back to the church about 7 o'clock. Oh, very terrible. Who let the dogs? That would have been fun if I said the dogs were let out. But right. I said they let the dog. These two let them out. All right. I just answered your question, which was never answered in that song.
It wasn't, was it?
No, that's the point. I just said Bruce and fucking Luke did it. Yeah. That would have been the end of the song. Oh, okay, never mind. One verse, and we could have been done.
Let's go home.
Let's go home. They would have went, who? Bruce and Luke. All right. Okay. I don't know. Wrap it up, guys. I don't have any other ideas for songs.
Somebody throw me a red stripe. Let's get out of here.
I just saw some dogs. So about 8:30, Tiffany sent a group text to her people here, and she said, crap storm coming in the Leonard family. Luke can't wait to say something. Says he's not coming back, I think. They're trying to see if he's going to come back from his dog sitting job. She should have them stay at the church and address it. And her mother said, yes, you should keep them there to address this whole thing. Mm-hmm. She texted Tracy, Tiffany's mother, texted, make him air it there. Saying that, air whatever he's got. And air it all out there. And also his sisters should be in on it too. Mm-hmm. And also, your brothers, Joe and Dan, everybody should be involved in this.
Yeah.
Bring that Dan and Joe and Dan in case it gets physical too,
How is she going to prove this?
Well, Tiffany announced that God wanted her to address something. And she said, who has been practicing witchcraft? Please raise your hands.
Yeah.
Now, all three Leonard boys raised their hands because they know this is directed toward them. She's staring at them. Mm-hmm. This is what they're talking about all the time. So they know they just have to admit it, and then hopefully it'll get over with.
Yeah.
So they do that. They raise their hands, and she says, raise your hands. Who among you would like to confess and forsake that sin now? They raise their hands again. Tiffany talks to Chris and list your sins and asks him if he's been involved with another family member in witchcraft. He's silent, and she says, why won't you say? Is the reason because you're not willing to let that one go? And he says, yes. She says, you have to let it all go because if you don't, that sin will have a hold in your life, and you can't be forgiven of something that you're not willing to let go of. Okay. Jesus Christ. So she asked Debbie, did you raise your hand, Debbie? I just couldn't see it. And she said, I didn't raise my hand. I know I used to, but I don't anymore. She said, we talked about my dad. You told me I didn't kill him by the way I thought and felt about him. Jesus, I felt that way about him, but he told me that he loved me and I forgave him just before he died. So now Debbie's crying. And Tiffany said, I'm glad for you, Debbie. And then she moves on to Luke. How do you believe you've practiced witchcraft, Luke? He said, I thought doing this would have a negative influence on you in the church. Pulled that out of his ass, right?
Nice work, Luke.
So then,
made you come in your sleep.
Yeah, and they know what they're guilty of because they're constantly telling you what everybody's doing. Right. This is what you want, even if you don't want it. He said, I read things in books and experimented with them. Said he was using a Ouija board to perform rituals and doing black magic, trying to make church elders sick. Huh. Not true, probably. Yeah. Tiffany laughed and said, "Did you make a voodoo doll?" And he said he did. And he said he poked the leg with pins to break her leg. And she said, well, that backfired. You're actually the one who ended up being injured. That's what happens, blah, blah, blah. It bounced off of me and went back to you. That's why you had that knee injury back in April. The only one hurt by this is you because demons don't touch the righteous, dick. Then Luke said, when you're preaching, I use my mind to try to make you stop. Now he's just fucking, he's had it. Now he's making a stand of fuck you. I'll say every fucking thing you think, and I'll make it 10 times worse just to say fuck you.
I rubbed the doll's pussy. What happened?
Well, he said, I use my mind to try to make you stop. I try to get you to break for lunch quicker.
Okay.
And he says, she said, oh, you do? And he said, and when you're playing songs, I try to get them to end faster. She said, what songs? And he said, this morning during worship, I wanted a song to end, and I thought about it being over, and a couple minutes later it ended. And she said, that's a song. Every song I've ever wanted to be over has ended eventually. A couple minutes after I wanted it to be over for the most part. Unless it was American Pie or something.
Or the
then
song
it was
that
6
never
minutes
ends.
after it was over. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
That was a genius thing to say, though.
That was fucking wild. So she says, can you think of any other examples where your thoughts seem to have an effect on actual events? And he said,
sometimes I hate the movie and I think about I want this to end. And then an hour and a half later, it ends.
That's pretty cool. Sometimes I'm on a plane and I'm like, I really hate flying. And then eventually we land. Usually within a couple hours. It's pretty cool.
I wanted to say all of this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I hate this food and then it's gone.
And then I'm eating breakfast the next day. So a couple weeks ago, the service ended right after I wished it would end. So Tiffany said, this kind of belief and practice is absurd. Well, yeah, it is, obvious, and so is yours. So she said God wrote for each person how their days would look before they were born. So obviously the Holy Spirit had already planned when the service would end, so nothing is influenced by him. She said it's not influenced by the whimsy of someone's thoughts. She asked Luke to stand so she could talk to him and not the demon possessing him, obviously. Stand up. She said, God told me something. God said you have plans to leave and go to Crystal's church, and you have a reason behind it. What is that reason? And he said, I want to do what I want to do and not get caught. Okay. Don't want to do this shit. She said, what do you plan to do? He said, I want to abuse people and get away with it so I can feel in power and control.
What?
In other words, that's what's Tiffany doing right now.
Yeah. I want to do
what's Tiffany doing?
Yeah.
Yep. She said, and how would you abuse people? And now he goes, I want to molest little girls. Please don't isolate that sound, by the way. I beg no one to do that. Please.
I want that isolated. I want it as my ringtone.
No. You have to say it now, too. You have to say it now. They're isolating me. They're isolating you, too, pal.
I want to molest little girls.
There we go. Thank you. You sounded more serious about it, too. That sounded grumbly. That could be admitted into court, sir.
I know that one sounded like I begrudgingly told the cop because he
yeah, exactly. They told you,
know,
tell us what you want, scumbag. What makes your dick hard, huh? Little girls. So, oh my God. So they all sat there, expressionless.
Yeah.
He said this because that's what she wants him to say.
Yeah.
So fuck it. That's what you want to hear.
You got
Take it.
Yeah.
By the way, I will tell you this right now. Everything that's going to happen here, even with a full investigation afterwards, there is zero evidence. No one has said Luke or Chris never molested a child ever. This is all bullshit. Things they're saying to try to get to stop from being beaten, and it has nothing to fucking do with anything else, okay? Wow. So they said that she said, are you hearing this, parents? He just said that of his own will. And then she goes to Bruce. So, Bruce, please don't let him go to Crystal's church. I know you love your son, and this must be very upsetting, but you need to face this. And Bruce said, do you have something to say? Or, I'm sorry, Bruce tried to speak, and Tiffany said, do you have something to say? And Bruce said, I have 3 questions. What, how, and now what? And now what? So Tiffany did a Q&A with Luke, asking him why he wanted to do this and not repent. He told her he liked feeling in control. She said, what good is a feeling when in reality it's just a deception of the devil trying to destroy you? Duh. Tiffany said that you're going to be found out and go to jail. And they don't treat people there who are guilty of those crimes very well because they're viewed as the worst. Is this what you want? Or would you like to, or would this make you feel in control? And he said no. They said, would you at least try to be sorry for your sins? You probably liked that place because it was a more positive, feel-good environment. You hear what you want to hear and not what you need to hear. Do you understand that even if you were to leave this church and get away from me, the Holy Spirit would still be after you? Jesus. Yeah, he said, what the fuck? The Holy Spirit would always be there convicting you and drawing you and making you uncomfortable in sin. Okay. Then she said she had a vision right then. She said, I'm not sure if it's a finished building that's gone into disrepair after being abandoned or an unfinished building project that was abandoned. But Luke, you're sitting right here in the middle of it, having lost everyone and everything as a result of your life's direction. So that's what she's telling him. She said it's this isn't a discussion but a lecture. She said this building has holes where windows would have been, bare concrete framing and I-beams. But I'm not sure if it's literal or allegorical, but that the Holy Spirit is showing you that that his love is yearning for you still in a way that's so deep. I feel like I don't have the words to express it. Wow.
You just say a lot of words if you don't have them.
That's a lot, man. So about 10 p.m., Tiffany announced that God says the sinning has to stop. Everyone's free to go except for the Leonard family. They have to stay. So Sarah, who was on her way from the nursery to the dining room, Tiffany catches up to her. Sarah's Luke's older sister. She said, I've asked your parents to stay. There are some things I want to talk to you about. Would you and your daughter mind staying too? Or I'm sorry, you and your sister, your little sister. So Sarah's kids went with another woman and one of the teachers, and Sarah and the other sister went to the small sanctuary area where they saw everybody's in there. Joe, Dave, all these people, right? They interrogate Luke.
Oh, boy.
Okay. They talked about pornography, and the parents were supposed to help him confront the sin, and they're yelling at him about that. She's like, where do you get pornography? And he said, the store. Yeah. And she goes, where else? And he said, the library. Yeah. And she says, the evil needed to go. You need to repent. He said, I like my sins. I like jerking off. It's wonderful. That's why I don't wake up like you, angry at myself for having wet underwear.
I sleep real nice.
I sleep great. So Luke said he'd taken knives and stood over his parents' bed because she said, you want to kill your parents, don't you? And he went, oh, yeah, I've taken knives and stood over their beds at night. That's right. He said, I've stood there with a knife right over my mother's heart, and I just didn't do it because something interrupted me. So she said she asked him to explain why he'd gone to Crystal's church, and he said, opportunity. And he said he was able to molest Crystal's daughter as he rode in the back seat on the way to the service. That's why he did it. So then she made Chris go stand next to his brother, and he shuffled over there. He's standing there. They start slapping him around, slapping Chris and doing all this shit. Tiffany's kind of she hasn't hit anybody, but she's leading the whole thing. They said it's fucking horrible. So they're yelling. Debbie's yelling at them. Everybody's yelling at them. At this point, one of the women, Chris's older sister, his younger sister, I'm sorry, the youngest daughter of the Leonard family, walks up behind Chris and she says, tell the truth. How did you molest my niece? Now saying that they molested Sarah's kids. Mm-hmm. Now they're saying that. And so one of the people end up punching Chris in the back. So then Joe gets in, 275 pounds, and starts beating up a skinny 16-year-old. Mm-hmm. Starts beating this kid, and he said, you have 3 seconds to answer. And then he turned to Bruce and said, if you tell me to stop, I'll stop. And Bruce said, don't stop. Yeah. So if he doesn't answer, hit him. Yeah. So he said 1, 2, 3, and he doubled the kid over with a big punch to the stomach and all this type of shit. And Bruce said, if he doesn't answer, hit him again.
Bruce.
So Joe continues pummeling Chris, beating the shit out of him all over the place. Debbie even comes in, who's had a recent heart attack and is very weak. She comes in and starts hitting him as well. What the fuck, Deb? So Joe delivers repeated kicks to Chris's upper thigh, knocking him down to the ground. And they're just keep kicking his ass. That's all they keep doing. So Luke is standing there waiting for his at that point. So, they said they were asking him to repent again, and Chris was trying to. He's trying to speak, but he couldn't speak, so they were beating him more. Now they go turn to Luke and say, it's your turn.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so they start beating Luke. Joe punched Luke in the stomach and then kicked him in the gut, knocking him over. Another guy, Dave, grabbed a hold of Luke and hit him some more. They were holding him up and punching him, holding him up and like working him over and shit like that. Yeah. Joe ended up breaking his wrist from punching these kids.
Wow.
Yeah, he was. So then he had to be. They had to be left-handed after that. Yeah, they're beating Luke's ass, beating him. He's blood coming out of his mouth, and then he starts. So they're like, admit you molested all these kids. Admit it. So he's like, yeah, I molested my nieces, my nephews. I molested every kid in the neighborhood. So he starts saying, I molested every kid I've ever seen. I molested. He says,
if that makes you stop punching me, that's what I did.
Yeah. So then they start calling him a liar. And then Sarah says, shouldn't we call the police? And they said, no, we shouldn't call the police because this is an internal thing with God.
What we're
God
doing
doesn't
right now
work
is
through
illegal,
the government.
so no.
Yeah, that too. We're beating a child. So then they say, how dare you? Those are your nieces and your grandchildren. Debbie is beating up her own sons. Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ. Debbie's shouting, confess it, confess it, confess it. So they're shouting, just do it, just confess it and tell us exactly what you did. Meanwhile, Joe is texting Tracy the whole time, his mom there, Jerry's old wife, saying, no, this is what's going on. This kid won't give it up, so we got to beat him up. All these texts going back and forth, just electronic communication.
Yeah, 'cause it's 2015.
Yep. Then they go into a storage room and come out with a computer power cord.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
It's a 4 foot long, and those are thick
They're
cords.
Fat as fuck.
And they have the plastic end that goes into the computer there. And then the other end is a three-pronged plug, obviously, with a ground on it and everything. So they start beating Luke with the
plug end.
They make it a whip. They double it over and make it a whip, and they're whipping this kid actually.
Oh, God, with both ends?
They're just whipping him with the end at first, like that. And Bruce said, they've been lying to me the whole time, pretending to my face. And Bruce is beating them. They're taking turns beating these kids with all this shit. And it's hard, too. I mean, whips, Chris is getting beat, Luke's getting beat, they're both getting beat. Then they start trying to tell details again because they keep getting beat. Yeah. So they're saying, they raped the one baby. Last night we raped her in her crib. Yeah, both of us did. They said, how'd you do that with your sisters in the room? And they go, they were in the room, but they didn't hear it. We covered up the baby's mouth. We covered her mouth up, and she bled in the crib and stuff. They said, obviously that didn't happen. Right. They're asleep 4 feet away, and 2 boys came in, raped a baby, and then put her away. And nobody cried, nothing happened. Nobody woke up for that. So that's the type of shit. And they're going, say more. Tell us more what you did. Tell us more. They're just saying, we did it. Debbie had the cord. He hit them to hit him. These are uncountable amounts of times they're hitting with this fucking cord. Then Sarah comes in. Do you know anything about a peephole in the bathroom? And Chris said yes. And he said, it's to watch people take showers. And she said, you watching my kids take showers? And she starts beating them. Sarah yanks the cord away from her father and goes crazy. Sarah starts pummeling both of the kids, chest, arms, legs, and mainly groin, concentrating on the groin. God. She turns it around and uses the 3-pronged plug end and is beating them with that.
Oh, my God.
Just with that, whipping them with the prong. It's cutting them every time, obviously. Concentrates on their dicks.
Yeah.
Beating them through the clothing, but beating. Luke's yelling, please stop. And she's saying, how could you? And they're screaming, and everybody's fucking screaming, and the other people are screaming in the kids' faces as she's beating them with the plug. He's trying to cover up his dick while she's fucking pummeling him. So his hands are all fucked up. They tried to turn away from the cord. Joe, the big one, said, turn back or I'll make you. Okay. Take your whipping. So, I mean, they were just, she beat Luke's groin so bad she broke the fucking the cord open to where the wires were exposed.
Wow.
That's how much she did it. She was just attacking. Blood is pouring down the front of his pants.
Yeah.
His whole pants are covered in blood.
His pelvis is cut open.
They're yelling in his face. Some old lady's like, he's not so tough now, is he? Look at this. They're screaming in his face. Old ladies are doing this shit. Just about everybody gets their shots in, except for Tiffany. She never touches either one of them.
Really?
No, you have them
She's
do
the
it.
Boss. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. She's fucking Gotti over here. So this is a fucking horrible, horrible mess. They're falling onto the floor. They pick them up and beat them more.
Oh, my God.
It's torture. Then they separate them in 2 separate rooms with headphones and earplugs so they can't hear each other, and they're interrogating them and all this shit. Luke says, I'm bleeding. By 3 a.m., Bruce says, we have to stop.
Yeah.
We can't beat them anymore. No more hitting in the back or the chest, Tiffany said. You can't. If you're going to beat them in other places. So they developed a plan to get the truth, was to separate them and all of that. By the time fucking 8 a.m. comes around, these kids are still, at this point, Luke's body has slid involuntarily off his chair and he's collapsed on the floor.
Yeah.
He has left a trail of blood behind him on the carpet.
Uh-huh.
And, So he then texts with his brother and says he wanted to know if Luke was still in the hot seat. And he said, no, it's a bucket. They said, why didn't he get the chair? And he said, so he didn't soil the chair. They said, what about the rug? And he said, yeah, the drama queen soiled the rug.
Oh, God.
He bled all over the rug. So this is crazy. This is fucking crazy. So then they decide, okay, let's do it this way. They get a tarp out, like the Gambino family, and they get a tarp out, and they put Luke on the tarp since he's bleeding all over the carpet there, obviously. So somebody, Debbie heard someone say, he's getting blood on me. This is ridiculous. So they don't want blood on them, but they want to do that. They had to babysit the kids. At one point, they noticed that Luke is not breathing on the tarp.
Yeah, because he's bled out.
So Chris looks up, and they're notices that they're trying to help Luke there. They're doing chest compressions, and they're doing CPR. They're doing the whole deal, doing a whole big CPR thing. They said, we've got to take him to the hospital. Bruce says we got to take him to the hospital. They hop in all these separate cars. They go to the hospital 10 minutes away. They run in and say, our son might be dead. So nurses run out. They're doing CPR on Luke in the van. They're doing that. They're like, we need to find the source of the blood to stop the bleeding. Where is all this blood coming from? They say, was it drug related? What's going on here? Bruce just kept saying he got jumped. I don't know. He got jumped.
Yeah.
That's what Bruce would tell them.
Drug related? Yeah, he took drugs and exploded internally.
And his dick exploded.
Right.
Yeah, it's perfect. He kept saying, how did he get beaten up? And nobody would answer how he got beaten up and everything like that. He just jumped him. They just jumped him, he said. Mm-hmm. Holy shit. So they said his shirt's open, pants still on. They take off Luke's pants and find extensive clotting and swelling in Luke's upper right thigh and groin, and a hole that looked like a gunshot wound to the side of his penis near the tip.
Wow.
He bled out of his penis.
Unbelievable.
This is fucking insanity, man.
Like a
fucking
gunshot
insanity.
wound. How many times do you have to hit somebody through their pants with an electrical cord to break that hole? That's got to be...
And keep it going.
Oh, my God. Untold amounts of times.
Untold. Yeah, it was untold. So at 12:28 p.m., they declare Luke dead. Now, Chris is going to be in the hospital for a while as well. They said a shot in the groin. They couldn't find the bullet. They thought he got shot in the dick.
Right.
So they did a chest x-ray to see if maybe a bullet penetrated his chest cavity afterwards. Is it stuck in there or something? But they couldn't find a bullet. They were like, I don't know what the fuck this is. They said someone dropped off a patient. We think it's a shooting.
Right.
They just insisted it was a shooting. So then they go out and talk to the rest of the assholes. No one will say shit, obviously, in this whole entire fucking group. All Tiffany, they just kept saying, well, we gave him CPR. We tried to give him CPR. We found him. I don't know. Then Tracy at one point just blurts out, he raped a baby.
That's not what did this.
And they said, was it your baby? And she said, no. They were like, okay. So they kept saying that. Well, he molested kids. And they said, wow. They said, you said he raped a 2-year-old? And she said, I didn't say it was a 2-year-old. I said it was a baby. And they said, why? What would ever cause someone to want to hurt or touch a child? It's that. So they go on with this whole thing. They're trying to act like he's a molester. Someone must have caught up with him, but they're not saying exactly who did it. Then a social worker comes in and talks to Bruce. And they said, what happened to Lucas? Bruce says, they whooped him. Who whipped him? No response. Why did they hurt Lucas? He's a child molester, Bruce says. You knew that or you found out today? I knew before. He told me today. Where'd you pick up Lucas today? On Oneida Street in New Hartford. Where is that street? The big church that looks like a school? Yes, in the lawn there. They carried him out. Who carried him out? No response. So he just won't say how it happened.
Good answers, Bruce. You're doing a terrible job.
They ended up patting Bruce down, and they find a .223 round in his pants pockets. They find a spent shell case, a spent casing, and a full bullet, as well as several jackknives. They handcuffed him and took him to the station for questioning. Debbie got the same shit. Police investigation here into this whole thing. Jesus Christ. Found that he was beaten during the spiritual thing. A couple people cracked. One neighbor said that Lucas had been talking about moving on and mentioned joining the Army. Chris ended up being hospitalized in serious condition for a couple of weeks. Bruce and Debbie are initially charged with first-degree manslaughter. Yeah. 4 other church members, including the sister Sarah, were charged with second-degree assault. They let a couple out on bail. Some had no bail. They all pled not guilty at first here.
That's balls.
The reaction, Aunt Smokey, I love, talking about Debbie. She was my friend, but may they burn in hell.
A girl.
I fucking love it. Other people said that we weren't initially isolated from the community. Then we got more isolated. You know, the members were trying to talk about it. So Debbie ended up Debbie ends up flipping on everybody. Yeah. Debbie's the one. Debbie flips on her husband. She flips on everybody. She said she had no idea how far it would be taken and was too weak to stop it, even though she did a lot of the whipping herself. She participated in it. The lawyer said it looks like she went along with it and it spun out of control. This woman is so weak and timid that she didn't have the temerity to stand up to them and say, you're not punishing my kid. You're not doing this. But she said that they struck him with a cord for things he had said. Police said that Leonard had told hospital personnel workers that his kid got beaten because he's a child molester. It's all coming together here. And they did a full investigation, and they said there's absolutely no indication of any sexual abuse to any of the children mentioned. The deceased and his brothers are the victims of a horrible crime.
Unbelievable.
So, they end up doing this. They plea initially. Everybody is getting all these different plea deals here because first they say they're not going to plea, then they plea. Chris testifying said it hurt everywhere. He talked about in detail what they did to him. Yeah, they said they wanted to talk about what we had done, Lucas and I, and he said his brother answered some questions but didn't want to answer others and because they didn't know what to say. Right. So talked about being beaten. Debbie is going to admit to her part in the beating and obviously be found guilty, going to plea here. Mm-hmm. She said, I hit them with my open hand and punched them in court, she said. So her husband, Bruce, was charged with manslaughter again here. Now they upped that. They upped it from manslaughter. Yeah. They also charged Sarah with murder and kidnapping and assault and gang assault charges as well.
Gang assault is a thing.
That's what it was. It doesn't matter if you're doing it for fucking control of that corner or Jesus. Either way, it's still a fucking gang assault. Yeah. Doesn't matter. So here is how it worked out. Bruce Leonard here, he ends up pleading guilty to felony assault and sentenced to, you, sir, may fuck off, 10 years in prison. Debbie pleads guilty to felony assault and is sentenced to 5 years in prison. Sarah, the older sister, is sentenced to 25 years in prison after being convicted of manslaughter and assault. The pastor here is charged with manslaughter, and Tiffany, and she is sent to prison for 12 years for that. Joseph Irwin gets 8 years in prison for gang assault. Mm-hmm. David Morey, who was one of the church people there, and he held Luke up a lot of the times, he is sentenced to 5 years in prison for assault. A lot of these people are out now, by the way.
Yeah.
Linda Morey, who pulled the power cord out of the closet, was sentenced to 5 years for assault as well. Tracy Irwin Jerry's wife, and Daniel Irwin, the other brother, both pleaded guilty to unlawful imprisonment and was sentenced to 1 year for each count.
What?
Yeah. Tracy Irwin was set free after serving 1 year and 5 months in jail. Daniel Irwin received 2 years in jail. Daniel Irwin was set free in March of 2017 after serving 1 year and 5 months in jail as well.
Unreal.
The book is Without a Prayer, The Death of Lucas Leonard and How One Church Became a Cult by Susan Ashline. I didn't want to tell you that in the beginning because it would kind of give away the whole story. So there you go. I have reviews quickly. I have reviews of this church. Okay. Would be a great 1 star. Would be a great church if it weren't for the murdering hillbillies, but I guess without that, it's just a high school. You can't really call it a church because they aren't recognized nonprofits, so it's really just a family of murdering hillbillies who bully people into giving them money and doing free labor for them while they cheat the government out of their due taxes by pretending to be a church.
Wow.
1 star. Christian extremism claims more lives in America than Islamic extremism. We must speak about this. We must not consider this acceptable. Beating a member to death because they wanted to leave the congregation is fanaticism to the worst degree. This is not a Christian church. They do not follow the word of Christ. They abandoned God long ago.
Well written.
Yeah. Where is the one? Oh, murderers. 1 star. Murderers. And I dare you to come for me, bastards! !
Come get some.
Guess what? That's our statement, too, is murderers. And I dare you to come for me, bastards. Fuck off. And I live in your fucking state. Eat my dick. And if you're trying to start this shit back up again, you try to get some campaign against us, our fucking listeners will eat you motherfuckers alive.
I hope
your church will be
Tiffany.
buried.
I really do. You're an
pieces
asshole.
of shit assholes. So that is the Word of Life Church in
Wow.
Chadwicks, New York. Merry Christmas, everybody. That's it. I love this show because we can tell that story, and then this is our holiday episode, everyone. Think about that. This is what we do.
Their church should be called Deserved Life. Fuck these people.
Fuck these people
All
should be
of
this
them
church.
Should have been in prison forever. What the fuck, man?
Fucking real. Unreal, dude. Yeah, it's crazy. This poor kid got beat to death with a power cord in the dick.
Wow.
So if you like that story, or you just want to say, fuck, that was a crazy story. Good job, guys. You can do that everywhere on any app that you're listening on. You can rate and review pretty much. Give us 5 stars. Tell us you like the show. It helps drive us up the charts.
Yeah.
Head over to social media here. We are at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Murder on Instagram, at Small Town Pod on Facebook. Follow us there. Get all the updates, everything like that. In addition to you'll find out when the second half of the year's tour dates are on sale.
Right.
Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com where you can get all the tickets for 2023 that are on sale right now. It's just the shows through May on sale right now. Rest of them go on sale early 2023. Get your tickets February 10th, Cleveland, February 11th, St. Louis. Those tickets are going fast. If you're going to wait at all, you're not going to get them. So get in there right now and do that. Like we said, Cleveland, you sell it out. We won't make fun of you anymore for a while. 1 month, 1 year moratorium on. So do that. Come on, get in there, everybody. And then also head over to patreon.com/crime and sports.
Right.
Anybody $5 or above, you get access to all the bonus stuff. It's 150 episodes and more than that to binge on of bonus stuff and new ones every other week. 2 new episodes, 1 crime and sports, 1 small town murder. You get it all. This week, because it's Christmas and we have family stuff, we're only going to we'll do 1 and a little tiny one here. This is the only week Only week we'll slack, but the episode will be great. No slack in there. We're going to talk about the worst comedy gigs we've ever been a part of, the two of us. And there's a lot. Any comic out there has a million stories of hell gigs, and we have some good ones, really good ones. And so check that out. And we're going to talk about our best and worst, or in our opinion, Christmas songs in history as well. And on top of all of that, for crime and sports, just a little stocking stuffer of a bonus here. You guys like it when we watch videos and react to them, so we have something we need to watch. And it's related to a crime and sports episode. So check that out. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And, God damn it, you will get a shout out. When are you getting a shout out, Jimmy? Right now. Jimmy, hit me with the list of people who would never, ever, ever, ever make my dick look like a gunshot wound with a computer power cord. Hit me with them now.
This week's executive producer, Jordan Bennett. Merry Christmas to you, Susanna Platt. Donnie Munsell, Cameron Kushwara, Talina Jensen, Tara Bates in Tucson, Justine McNeil in Australia. She sent us a bunch of Australian shit.
Yes. Oh, my God. I've been eating the fuck out of that. I meant thank you so much.
You're amazing, Justine.
We'll do on an episode, we'll talk about some of our favorites. Next time we do an Australian guy.
Yeah.
We'll talk about some of the favorite shit from in there because I've been eating so much of that shit. I love your chocolate down there. Continue. Sorry.
Continuing with executive producers Nick Blair and Brian Wyckoff. Thank you guys so much for supporting this shit that we do, and we really, really appreciate you. You're amazing. Other producers this week? Truth. Other producers this week are Mark Wismer. Happy birthday, Mark.
Happy birthday.
Liz Vasquez, Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
Corporal Carl Kirshner, Doug Jones, Lisa Andrews. Happy hour checking in Roswell, New Mexico with his probless asshole. Good for you. Cody Leversey in Michigan. Kimberly Morrow. Matt Villanueva. Thomas Smith. Hannah Quinn and her pup Gnocchi. Jennifer Inglis. Nice. Eileen Dover. Okay, got it. Yeah, proud of yourself. Terry Haas and Dory Funk Jr. Michael's old
brothers,
boss.
Baby.
Ed Truck. Oh, that's from The Office. I know that one.
Don't know that one.
Oh, that's a tough name. Suil Torres. I don't want to say Sue Heil. That cannot be right.
Sue Heil.
Diane Norman, Carbs and Crustle, Rebecca Hargreaves, Janice Hill, Sarah Surridge, Jason the Cocaine Cowboy. No, that's Cocaine Bear. What? Why did I say cowboy?
I don't know. Who the fuck knows?
Oh, boy. Megan McDermott, Shannon Olson, happy birthday.
Happy
Matt
birthday.
Perry, Jonathan Phipps, Francis Mulcahy, I believe, Jordan Harvey, Sean Ray, Jennifer Kepler, Samuel Presley, Christine Hop, I think. Christy Hop, that's what it is. Sarah Thomas, Kylie Wells, Diane Barragan, I think. Maddie Smith, Lady Sam Tonks, Maisel Mullins, Ike Chua? Amadi? What?
Got that?
They're probably trying to get me to say something. There's no. I'm not saying.
It's going to come out something embarrassing.
Philippe with no last name. Alyssa Rivera, Boyd Cornell, Mitch Lyons, Calvin Rowles, Zach Foster, Derek Thompson, Claire Burrito. That can't be right.
Yes.
I think Apple corrected that to something else.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Claire, whatever your last name is.
I'm sorry. I'm mad I found Sarah before I met a woman named Claire Burrito because that's irresistible.
Jason Harbaugh, Melissa Lehman, Winky Muffin, Troy Copeland, Alex Stokes, Kathleen Mysachalk, David Dalton, Lauren Calawart. What?
Yeah.
Kate Phillips, Donald Simmons, Brett Dodson, Jean, Masco, Matthew Orchard, David Hunter, Miranda Ostaforf.
Sure.
Vanita Ann, Tristan Shirley, M with no last name, Laura Olivia, Benjamin Hachi, Mary Candy Clark, Elijah Cook, Hannah Archer, Stephanie Betts, Melissa Mannon, Brandy Faye Langworthy, Jordan Murphy, Ginger Caldwell, Regina Elliott, Brianna Scott, Jody Vanderholm, nice. Andrew Samarco. Sam Marco, Mike Ninow, Jude LaFleur, Katie C, Nate M, Ashley Holloway, Christopher O'Brien. There's so many weird letters, and I'm sorry. Reed Hyam, Steve Pesty, Viv Wright, Lee Blair, Tom Leach, Freya Halton, Jonesy with no last name, John Draver. John Draver.
Hey, Johnny boy.
Anna Lopez Rivera, Jordan Erickson, Lindsay Wright, Michaela Pierce, Elizabeth Smith, Becky Aubrey, Jennifer Deliakowski, Beatrice Alice Soskis. Madison Trevino, Todd Lloyd, Taylor Stewart, Dennis Rivera, Gabino, Moya Jr., Kyle McDonough, Allison Ward, Jenny B., Matthew Branham, Carl Allen Kramer, Kayla Williams, Dan Rogers, Tina Cianci, all right, Megan Naunch,
Cianci,
R. Long, Miranda McElroy, Brian Logan, Shelley Norton, Yvonne Abrahantes, Patrick Alonso, Catherine Bevan, Danny Pfeiffer, Paige Holly.
Sounds like you're mad at him. Danny Pfeiffer, come out now, you son of a bitch.
Get out of here, Danny. Michael Goodrich Jr., Jay Smith, Rhea Pierce, Price, Tracy Norville, Kim Corbin, Nicole Hubbard, Jordan with no last name, Allie Cook, Swasakowskidzwitz, Don Pulsoni Schramm, Louise Guzman, Kathy Schreiner, Scarano, Riley Ellis, Scott Gehring, Brandon Sumter, Malcolm Jackson, Jersey Red, Derek Geiger, Lisha Milliken Warfield, Hannah Eppenbaugh. Wow. Gabriel St. James, Stephen Jaskulski, Pete Shadow, Katie Littlejohn, Cole Blankenship, The Stone Baker, Summer Lortsky, Trevor Courier, Aaron Berg, Andy, nope, that's David Vetri.
You got this, Jimmy.
Kyrie Hightower, Ghostface R5, Jenny Ham, English Mosley, Patty Pereira, Kayla Medeiros, Michael Galford, Kathy Gindel, Ashley Ovdell, Ben Beck, Claire Perek, Jacob Peterson, Maisie Mays with no last name, Heather Sanchez, Miranda Walleye maybe, Ty Gardner, Trish Morrow, Samantha Garcia, Alex Turner, Samantha McLaughlin, Allison Moritz, Fletcher with no last name, Jenny Mansfield, Amanda Press, Desiree with no last name, Katie Chaston, Eds Breads, Lucianne Altman Newell, John Landeros, Zach Schneider, Loser Lion, Cara Donna, Amanda Kittleson, Charlie Ramos, Nayberry with no last name, Samantha Imanis, Nicholas LeBlanc, Barbara Butler, Jared Smith, Julia Sheets, Angela.
Jesus.
Angela Forbes, Matthew Kirkland, Christine Hahn, Elizabeth Siddle, Rob Coulter, Kendon Mockett, Stephanie Squiglia, Joe and Stacy Halfley, Abigail Rose, Rebecca Thomas, Mr. Aislinn Wells, Shannon Chauncey, Cameron Lemieux, I think, Lucas Fuxel.
Yeah, probably.
I want it to be Fuxel so bad.
Oh, yeah.
And all of our patrons, you guys are amazing.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Yes.
We appreciate everything you do for us and everything you've done for us this entire year. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Next week, I believe we're going to announce the new show, by the way, too. So that'll be fun stuff.
It's coming very soon.
Very soon. You want to follow us on social media? Super easy to do. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Links are right there. Links are there for everything and everywhere. Thank you so much. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure. If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.